Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are now live with BB3 TV.
I want my BB3 TV. Nostalgia screams, we all believe in shows that had us all in tow. Neon lights and synth vibes grow. Primetime slots when we unplug. We miss the feels of every show we know.
What's happening? Let's see if we can make this a little bit different here. It's going to be just you and I on there like that with no BB3 background.
Ooh.
I'm okay with that. We're good with it.
Ferris wheel happening.
Already got a comment here.
Hey, Ray.
What's
Hey.
going on, Ray? Also known as Farmer. What I'm going to do, so everybody knows this parental advisory real quick. So I'm going to switch this over to BB3 right now, the symbol, so everyone knows where. But this show will be parental advisory right from the start. Good to go. So you want to explain what today's show is?
Hi there.
What's happening?
Hey.
Being Monica.
Look at us being together. This isn't AI. This is real.
Yeah, so this is one of the things that we're going to start doing in shows now. There's my mom saying, hey,
Mom, you showed up.
Yeah. So in-person shows are going to happen more often. As you see, like most shows are usually like when you have to invite and then, you're on another screen and then they see everything. But being in the same place, we're going to start doing together shows. I think this is perfect. Can everyone hear us good too? So give me a little bit of thumbs up. Let me know if you can hear. I think we're good. So today is going to be the beer tasting show. Act 1 is beer tasting. Monica picked 6 beers or 3 beers. I picked 3. And we're going to taste test. We don't know what the beers are that we picked out.
Well, I know the beers I picked out.
Right.
And you know the beers you picked out. But we don't know each other's beers.
Indeed. So that's what's going to happen in a moment. And then Act 2, we're going to have Barry Anderson on.
Special guest.
Yeah, from Act. See, there's the screen. Look, see the screensavers.
Oh, look, now we're in nature.
Anyway, so Act 3 will be open air and then closing of the show. But we'll talk to Barry, get into his diverse career.
He has a very interesting career.
Yeah, in acting. Just creating. I have pictures on here ready to go, and we'll get into that later. So, without further ado, ladies first.
Ladies first. So, like Dom said, and like I said, we each chose 3 beers. And when Dom told me that he wanted to do a beer testing, he thought he was just going to do tasting beers. But I said, no, we have to do a chart. So I made a chart. And we're going to score our beers.
Wasn't that upside down?
Was it upside down?
The beer chart. So explain what the beer chart is.
Okay, so we're not just going to be drinking beer online here. That's not what we're here to do. Well, that is kind of what we're here to do.
Yeah.
But we're also here to try out, we're going to grade the beers. And we're going to grade them by aroma, appearance, taste, settle down, mouthfeel. So we are going to enjoy the brew and we are going to grade it. And at the end, we're going to see who won as far as the beer and who won as far as choosing the beer.
I didn't know this was a competition, but
It's always a
it's
competition.
always going to be a competition.
I'm just kidding.
No, all right. So I've actually got things up too. When I bought the beers, I've got a little some photos that I'll read of what they are. So pick one.
I'm going to pick a beer out of the Magic Hat. Sorry, while I escape the screen for a second. It's really tight in there. Okay, I'm going to do.
They're going to have a field day.
Field days are good. We're going to do Paradiso Coconut Ale. Isn't
shit.
she cute? Have you tried this before?
No, but I like coconut.
Okay, so we were surprising each other, and I'm like, "Ooh, this looks good. It's got the beach scene. That's what I like."
Get that a little closer to the show. Yeah. I think that's nice, Ken. Yeah.
Ray, you like that? So
Where's it from?
Well, let me tell you that I try to do local here.
Okay.
And so this beer, this brew, is brewed and packaged at Sun Creek Brewery in Claremont, Florida.
Okay.
All right.
It's right up the way.
Coconut. I was scared. Maybe Dom is
I love coconut.
maybe Dom is allergic to coconut. I don't know.
Yeah, she asked me if I'm allergic to foods. I said all of
You
them.
said all foods, and I'm like, okay.
Clearly.
So we have to taste the Paradiso.
First, we got to smell the aroma.
Yes.
So crack
have
it.
to
What does
smell-
it sound like? You should have put sound on here. What does it sound like?
Okay. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's a wonderful sound.
Oh yes.
All right, you smell first. What does it smell like?
Are we smelling it from the can, or should I pour it?
From the can first. That's where like you get the first
so you
hit.
want my nose
Yeah, I
all
don't
in your
care.
drink? Okay. I can't smell coconut. Can you?
I don't smell anything.
Oh goodness.
Bad start.
Should,
All right, let's
should we not be sitting this close?
Let's
Okay,
go.
so all right, so we have aroma, and we can do like earthy, we can do grain, we can do chocolate.
Well,
That
so
would be
far,
good.
the aroma for smell is 0.
I feel maybe we need to pour it.
Pour
so
it.
we're gonna pour it.
Let's see how you pour a beer.
We're gonna check
Let's
the
see how you
appearance.
pour a beer.
You don't know. I used to be a bartender, so now we really got to do a good job.
Yeah. You spilt it already on the table. Just kidding.
Okay, we're just gonna do a little.
Okay.
Look at that head,
The
ladies.
color. Like I said, they're gonna have a field day with comments. All
We're
right.
just having fun here.
So first, a
We're-
cheers always. And
Do you
cheers
wanna
everybody
smell it
there.
again?
Yeah. I don't smell coconut.
I smell coconut.
You do.
It's like coconut milk,
Doesn't
like
s-
coconut water.
It doesn't smell like
Shall we?
suntan lotion or nothing.
No, that's not real coconut. Have you ever had a coconut off the beach where you crack it open? and
Totally. I thought that was a hair in there, but is it a hair? It's not.
The
All right,
alcohol
let's
kills
try
it. He's gonna be honest. He said he'll be honest. This was my pick, so he's gonna be honest. I'm getting a little like mounds. The candy bar. I feel like I need a little
It tastes like the candy bar.
bit. What do you guys think?
It tastes like an almond joy. It tastes just like an almond joy.
Go me. I don't know if you like it, but I do.
It's delicious. I can say though, with this beer, I would only drink one.
Okay, so it's one you just have to.
Yeah,
It's not one you're gonna have like
but
a.
you wouldn't just say, "Hey, give me another one of these," because it's overall sweet, tastes like an almond joy. And I'll give you this: I'm finishing it. Okay.
Good job. There's still a little bit left if you want some. So,
Later.
what?
Later, but that tastes just like the almond joy candy, like full 100%.
Ray, if you like almond joy,
So Ray, you would like this beer. But like I said, in my opinion, one beer of that.
Oh, let's talk about
All right,
the
so
alcohol
let's-
content.
Yeah. So aroma sucks.
Oh, we're grading these
Is there-
1 through 5. Each
Is aroma by taste or smell?
aroma is smell.
So 0 for
I'm
me.
gonna give it a 2.
Okay. Appearance. Can looks great. I'm gonna go by can. So I'm
Okay.
gonna give that a 3.
Okay.
By can. See?
But what about like is it clear, cloudy? It's pretty clear. It's a light,
Taste is sweet.
so I give it a
And the mouthful or mouthfeel.
the mouth feel, and that's when you're looking at body, carbonation, texture. And other things like, is it sticky? Is there a weird aftertaste?
No, there's no weird aftertaste. I'm gonna go with body light and other. I can pick 2. No one gave me any rules.
Okay, but you got to give it numbers, 1 through
Oh.
5.
Shit. I'm
Yeah.
here making comments on here.
No, that's helpful though. That's because we're doing a service for the people. We're
Sweet.
tasting these for you, so that you can.
The sweetness
decide.
I would give a 3 because it's not overpowering. And for the mouthfeel for all of it, I'm gonna give it a 4.
I gotta taste it one more time.
So 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a 10.
5, 10. I gave it a 14. Altogether 14, and this is the Paradiso Coconut Ale
Okay.
from Claremont, Florida.
Very
Ray,
good.
check it out. Come
So
over and have one.
even though you've got these glasses, I think I'm gonna go with these
Okay.
because I don't feel like washing anything. So I'm going to these. You feel like these now, or are you sticking to that?
Okay, so Dom got these, and I'm like, we need clear so we can
Yeah,
see.
and I'm definitely not going to wash anything.
He doesn't want to mix his flavors,
Right.
which is respectable. So that was my pick.
Pick.
I'm just
mine.
going to choose
You're
out
gonna have
of.
to choose it.
Okay, so I'm just going to
Reach,
blind
reach in
fold,
and grab it.
and you're going to present.
That's right.
You're going to present. It's tight in here.
What you say? I'm going to join you and have one beer. So this bus for you. Well,
Thanks, Mom.
she can't-
Cheers.
she can't join in person, but yeah,
No, in spirit.
probably should have. She should have just stayed here and hung out.
Who said
Yeah.
something about
Yeah,
that? I
actually,
don't-
Monica wanted you here to do the beer show.
I said,
but
Mom's
I said
Day.
not this show.
Mom's Day. We should have your mom.
So sour me apricot. One of my favorite fruits is an apricot.
Sour me.
Imperial. Craft Cherish Rules. It's a Duclaw, I guess, and it is from. Where the hell is it from? Shit, where is it from?
Can we, while you're looking at that, this
Oh
was,
my God!
Wait,
Out of New Jersey.
Jersey?
That's where I'm from.
Oh my, I knew
Straight
it.
out of Jersey.
I knew you were from-
All right.
Let's go back to the Paradiso because it was so delicious. It was 5.6
So let me
alcohol
find.
content. 5.6. Oh, and by the way,
I'm looking
if,
for the comment.
if you guys
for-
are voting, this is a veteran-owned company.
I'm looking for the
We like
picture
our
for the
veterans.
Duclaw and what they had to say about it. Watch it.
The Kentucky Derby is on today, Ray. Did you?
I took a picture of the wrong Duclaw. So this is out of New Jersey. Let's go with smell. My nose first this time.
Ray was mentioning the Kentucky Derby. Do we know?
The Kentucky Derby is on today. I just heard
Is
about
it
that.
still
yeah.
happening?
I don't know. I don't. We have a big forest behind us.
Who's winning?
Let's see what.
I have my money on the horse.
Bourbon Day, because the Kentucky. Okay, he said Bourbon Day. Bourbon Day. Okay. So cheers to you. Have a drink with us.
Ray,
So-
what's your drink of choice? Do
He
you
said
like the
bourbon.
beer? Well, he said it's Bourbon
He had
Day.
just said it.
Bourbon Day. Okay, sorry.
No, just kidding.
Sour me.
I don't
apricot.
smell any apricot. Do I have COVID-19?
You better not. I'm sitting very close to you. There's a smell though.
Shit.
No, it's not that. Thank goodness I want to drink it. There's a smell. It's.
Let me smell again.
I feel like you have a high expectation of a scent, like it's beer.
The cherry beer you could easily smell from Sam Adams.
The
That's
cherry
my favorite
beer is
beer.
good.
That's my favorite beer.
Yes.
All right,
it's good
so
beer.
I'm pouring you this. There you go.
How do we feel about apricot? I love apricot.
I just ripped that cup out of your hands like I was.
How
like
dare
It
you,
was going out of style. Here, put that over there. Out of New Jersey.
Josie? That's not how they talk.
Oh, I smell it.
We gotta look at.
I smell it now.
We
It
gotta
smells
look at
great.
the appearance.
Looks like beer. Same,
not
same
sure
as
you-
coconut.
I'm not sure your head was as good as mine, but we'll take it.
I tell you, they're really gonna enjoy these comments. Jesus.
Jim Beam.
Jim Beam.
Ray likes the Jim Beam. Is that that's bourbon?
I smell apricot. It's already getting a 1 from me. A 1.
Mom says that over half of the horses are winning from Marion County.
But I think it's the only place that there are anymore with this equestrian crap.
We have a lot of horses in the area.
BB3
Go,
hats.
Marion.
You guys could get your BB3 hats at Redbubble and shirts and stuff like that. I like it backwards. Cheers. Let's give it a
I
taste.
like it backwards too. How do you explain that? Okay, so it's called Sour Me. Yes, there's sour there.
Oof.
I don't know what oof
Oh,
means.
Christ.
You picked it.
Yeah. It's not a good oof.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am not a seltzer girl. I don't like hard seltzer.
I love seltzer.
I don't. This is a nice alternative to seltzer because seltzer is like
What?
always missing something. Oh, look how we went dark.
We gotta fix that real quick. Play that.
Let's talk about. Did you say the alcohol content? In
I don't know, but it's really sweet.
7.1% alcohol.
Yeah, that's a lot. So for
That's a lot.
for taste to me,
It's beer.
I'm giving it a 2. 1 less than yours.
What did you give the
3.
aroma?
The aroma,
No, you
Z-
gave
I
mine
gave
a
it
0.
right? The coconut, but the aroma I gave a 1 for smell. The appearance, same crap.
But is it a good
The
smell?
can looks. I'm gonna give the can and everything like a 2. For this, I think it's too sour. I think it's
It's like a groovy looking can.
There's Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
Hey, hope you're doing good. Hey, Patricia. Shame I can't drink.
But
you can.
Mom is having a
A Budweiser while
so Carmen.
have one while you watch. Now,
You're hanging.
let me see.
No, we're actually doing the appearance of the actual beer. It's a light color. It's
So I don't taste apricot. This thing tastes like one of my favorite candies is a warhead, but you can only have one. This tastes like a warhead to me. And I'm not going to finish it. Makes your teeth hurt. Christ.
I'm still grading here on my appearance. Not my appearance, the beer's appearance.
Mouthfeel, I'm going to give it a 2 because
It's a little cloudy.
I just don't like. Well, there's a town.
Well, so are we just gonna ignore my comment, or I mean,
What comment?
The one where he said it's down here.
Where?
wait, there's a smell. Did Monica fart again? And there's nothing.
Tom,
Where? Oh,
that
there's a
was
Tom's
the
comment.
chair. Isn't it date night? What are you doing?
Oh, I
No,
see.
it's not. Well, it's not date night. It's overnight night, and she's
Right.
not here yet. I still got 2 hours.
Tom, I could fix that real quick. Hold on 1 second. Can you grab a beer real quick?
Have you not been seeing
Wait,
me grab
can you
beers?
grab that?
That's it was the chair. You're so funny. I think you're such a funny guy.
You see how we did the media?
I did.
So we're doing beer tasting, and then Barry will be here.
Wait, let me like lift up and then you do that.
All right, you ready?
Ready?
Wait. Here you go.
That's top 2. The old beer incident.
It must be me. Okay.
I wanted to come on to say that. It was like I mean, I'll hang out for my half a beer, but
Sure. So you've seen what we've done so far, right?
no, I didn't. I was downstairs doing stuff, and then I came up and saw that it
Why
was
do you
on.
always act like you're so busy, like doing other stuff?
I am. I take care of my dad. I
Okay.
while I work too, but but
Look at. So far, we did Paradiso coconut ale. Do you think you would like that?
no,
Coconut ale? You don't like
No.
coconut?
not really. No.
Dom
Now
really-
he mentioned the cherry wheat from Sam Adams. That's a damn good beer.
That's my favorite beer. My favorite smell.
that is trouble. That beer. And
No.
then, so Paradiso coconut ale is mine. And then Dom chose the sour me apricot. What
Did
do
not-
you think of that?
Did not know it's from New Jersey.
What? Nothing from New Jersey is ever good, man.
There's Barry. Making another job. Barry will be here in about 20, 30 minutes. Give us a little bit of time here. We're only through a few.
Wow. I mean,
Tom?
it's been well over a year since he's been on BB3 TV.
yeah, and he's gonna have a good one here.
What are you drinking, Tom?
Mom said,
Molson
hey,
Ice.
Molson Ice. Is that your choice? That's your drink of choice?
That's my dad's drink of choice. So yes, that's
your
mine.
go-to?
I hate Bud Light now too. I drank that a lot too.
No, Bud Light. Listen, the only light beer that's good is Miller Light. Really.
What about
Because-
Corona Light?
Not that Corona is already like piss.
This is my go-to anymore.
No,
When I don't, you know.
That's
I
what buff
can't.
people drink.
I can't. My sister drinks that, my oldest sister, but I can't. I tried it. I don't like it. It doesn't have enough taste to it.
Really? Do you do
Yeah.
the lime and the salt?
As we go, keep rolling.
With a
Keep rolling.
Michelob?
The lime and the coconut.
Too long. I know it's been too long. That's
Now
right.
let me get this straight. You put the lime in the coconut. You
Yes.
drank them both down.
Yes.
All right, Tom. As you're here, we're gonna go to the next beer.
Okay, so I went, and then Don went, and now it's my turn again.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Are you ready? Are you on the edge of your seat?
Isn't that the beginning of a
Yes.
wrestler song?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Okay. So, and this goes so well. Look at my beautiful can and our. Look at that can.
Very macabre.
Tom, what
That
do
looks
you?
like a face sock, like those things they wear.
This has got to be Mexican beer, right?
Day of the Dead.
Right.
This is actually Buena Vista salt and lime lager.
I already can tell you I'm gonna hate it.
Lager.
Well, no, I will. There are some beers that do have a lime flavor in them that aren't bad. Bud Light Lime is not one of them.
Bud Light Lime sucks.
Yeah.
You know what's good though is the new Corona that's out. It's called I forget. It's called Sunbrew. It's lime and orange. What does it smell like?
Orange reminds me of Blue Moon beer.
Ooh, do
Oh,
you
this-
like Blue Moon?
This smells
It's
like
okay.
It smells like heartburn.
Oh yeah.
Why? Too much hops?
The esophagus is gonna hurt. Not sure Buttermilk tastes like piss.
Okay, let's talk about where this is.
She said not that piss tastes like, but yeah.
This is imported.
We know Carmen.
San Diego. So
Well, it makes sense with the Mexican border and things like that. I like that. California, let's do it.
you know how to party.
California.
There's
Knows
Chris.
how to party.
There's definitely Chris.
Hi, Chris. Good to see you.
Who is that?
Paul.
It's always asking about shows and stuff like that. Here you are. Here we go.
Oh, check out this head, Tom. You're gonna like this.
Whoa!
Said-
We're not that kind of network. Oh,
I
wait.
said there's gonna be. I
Head.
said
We're not. I feel like there was a parental advisory.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, but not for X-rated. I mean,
we're talking beer here. What are you
Yeah,
talking
what are you-
about?
you're talking about showing head. I don't know. Anyway,
it smells like Bud Light Lime. Straight up.
well, the
Look at
smell
that.
of Bud Light Lime is good. The taste of it is not.
Christopher, what do you think of this can? Do you like it?
It's
Alright,
the
I'm
Day of the
tasting.
Dead. It's
Or we're tasting. We smelt it. It
And
smells
dealt
like
it.
well, Monica did.
you're so funny, Tom.
I try.
You don't even have to try.
Yeah, it's just natural.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good summertime beer. It's a very good summertime barbecue beer.
I'm not keeping score, but so far you love my beers more than
So
yours.
far, you won. This is a very good summertime beer because it's not overpowering on lime.
I've mentioned it before, but what would be a really good summertime beer is actually a winter beer, Mad Elf.
I almost bought that yesterday.
Dude, it's great. I mean, it's,
And Elf,
Mad
it's a
Elf.
little hoppy. It's very high alcohol content.
I had the bottle in my hand, Tom.
It's good, man. I like it.
So if you're doing a barbecue in California or anywhere you're going, there's a very California taste to it. Tom, what's she saying here?
the amount of things I've heard. Thank God she said smelt it. I thought she said smelt it.
Oh, the hell's this show coming to? All
Well, you don't know what she does in her spare time.
right, far as aroma, I'm giving it a. Well, we just got to go
We're
through
talking
this.
about the beer.
No, we got to get Barry here too. So
Barry.
we're moving a little quicker.
Okay.
Uh,
Quick, fast.
I'm giving it a 2.
Aroma.
Appearance, I'm giving it a 1. It looks just like a light
It's
beer.
light. It's
not.
very light.
And the can, and maybe for the can, I'll give it a 3. It's very nice. As far as taste, I'm going to give this one. You said I scored a what?
1 through 5.
I'm going to give this a 4. And as far as the mouthfeel, it's very light, so I'm going to give it a 4 too. It's the highest one so far on my list.
I'm gonna say it was mine. I didn't love it very much.
Yeah. See,
I'm back to the coconut.
To me- that flavor for a good summer drink, that's where you would go.
Tom, if you want to also grade your
Molson Ice.
Yeah,
it's a beer.
Ice.
It's a beer. It's I don't know. It's my everyday beer here.
I heard a rumor that you weren't drinking beer on.
I'm not.
Oh.
Well, when I say everyday beer here, I mean like I don't mean I'm drinking it every day, but like it's when I do drink at home, which I do on date nights and I do on the night that Stephanie comes over.
Is Stephanie the date?
Yeah.
Okay. I
She's
didn't know if you.
my one and only goddess. You know?
There's date night and then there's Stephanie, so I didn't know.
Well, see, Stephanie night is an overnight night. You know, so that would be tonight.
Her and I are getting married. We're doing in-person shows.
Oh, right.
It's such a gross look on your face, though.
Well, no, it's not you. It's the married part.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's not you. It's me. It's really, we can't.
It is.
Story of my life.
It's me. It's always me.
All right, it's my turn.
It's Dom's turn.
So we're on what, 2 and 2?
You know what? I forgot something. I got you something.
Oh Christ!
Does it require charging before use, or?
I got you a little gag.
She's already
gift.
got one of them.
No, I got Dom a gag gift because we tend to spill when we drink, and
No, you know what you should have got? You know those bibs that they have for babies that have like that they're plastic and they have that pocket.
Yeah, they got the pockets. I looked at those.
That's what you should have got.
Dom and I
don't fit around my neck.
We're learning different things about each other, and one thing we both learn is we like to dribble while we drink.
Well,
oh,
but I don't like to tuck it.
Whatever you do in your own time.
That's not what I heard.
Pick a beer.
And now it's Dom's turn.
Yeah, pick one.
Oh my Lord.
Wow.
That was a good one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up.
You are enjoying yourself. That's good. So we did the Paradiso, we did the Apricot, we did the
so it's one of mine.
Buena Visa, and now we're doing Dom's.
Yeah. So we have exactly. This is my okay. So I bought this because I saw a goose. I thought the goose looked cool.
What do you think of the goose, Tom?
It's weird looking because it's got a red head. I mean, now listen, I do love my redheads.
Love your redheads.
I do.
Oh yeah.
But I've never seen a goose with a red head.
It's 5% alcohol, and it is from. Let's see where. Oh, it's a blonde ale, which I do like.
Do you have the geese coming back your way, Tom?
We have Canadian geese here.
Yeah. Are they coming back, or are they still hanging out?
They've been here. They haven't gone away.
Oh, they don't go?
No. Right now we have wild turkeys in the
park. This is from Oviedo, Florida. Unfortunately, I supported Florida.
Ah, well, see, why would you go and do a thing like that?
Why did you say unfortunately?
Oh, you know, we don't
know. Don't support New Jersey either.
Hey, I heard Tom's coming down for a show, so the three of us can hang out together.
Where'd you hear that at?
Why? Did I?
Oh, Stephanie told me I wasn't supposed to say anything.
Did you?
I severely doubt that.
Is that the truth?
No. I don't know Stephanie.
No.
But I'm sure we would love each other.
Oh, she's an awesome person. She really is. Dom met her.
Kate, yo, what's up, girl?
What's up, Kate?
Look, you hit the screen if you want. There's a Willow
And
Morgan.
we have Willow.
Willow, what's up?
Yep.
Willow.
Just don't double tap or we lose people. She double tapped the screen earlier and then I lost everything.
I'm sorry, Willow. I've been. I know. I haven't been on the shows. I know.
So I don't know what I did here as far as.
Kate, did you just hop in?
Oh, right
Have you
there.
seen the
So Oviedo Bloom Blonde, United States, Florida, featuring sweet hues of honey, malt, and subtle piney grapefruit flavors and aromas. Boom! Was crafted in collaboration with the Kingdom INL Foundation. I have no idea what that is. To help support our local upcoming athletes along their journey to greatness. So that's what this beer is. It costs $4.49.
$5.49.
$5.49.
Well, I have to ask Christopher. Obviously, he's from Jersey. What part of Jersey is he from?
Right. I thought there was only one Jersey.
Well, there's northern, central, and southern New Jersey. But I am from Philly, which is why you might understand my feelings on Jersey.
Aroma?
Because Jersey has it for Philly, Philly has it for Jersey. You know, it's
Aroma smells like beer. I'm giving it a 1.
Kate is calling me lovely, so I already enjoy her.
Kate is an awesome person. She really
look
is.
at you with your cat.
Jersey for life. That's right. I'm taking this off. This has got to go.
It was a gift.
I'm sorry.
He's not really sorry, and I'm okay with it too.
All right.
Okay.
Pouring beers.
The smells. We're supposed to be like
Smell.
we're doing this in fast
And I
forward.
spilled it. The smell sucks.
Your beer. Look at the head though. What do you guys, Tom? What do you think of this head? What do you give it?
That's not a lot of head, but
Can I get a dude
it's, you know, but
Well-
that's a good thing because the less head, more beer.
Dude,
You know.
what?
Tom is asking for a dude wipe for his head. So
For his what?
Gotta always keep it clean. I spilled beer. Dude,
Why
what?
do you use dude wipes? Just use a paper towel like the rest of the world.
I can't get up. I forgot the paper towel.
They're on your counter.
Beer stinks.
Dom just said he can't get up. What?
This beer stinks.
I didn't say I can't get up.
Jesus.
No, Dom said,
Oh,
not Tom. Dom.
Dom's just a screw up over and over. I'm
Right.
British.
Dom and Tom love my random questions.
I
Kate,
do.
bring
she's
on
British.
your questions.
British. I
Oh,
see.
British.
She's British, isn't it?
We're bloody British.
Isn't it? It's British, isn't it? It's
This is a tasting, Kate. Believe it or not, we're not
It's a-
just drinking.
It's a tasting, and it's going to be a show in a minute.
Oh,
This beer is delicious.
I'll be right back. I have one more, and then I have to go after that one more.
we have this is called Boom the Kingdom.
This is great.
Boom. Boom.
Taste wise, it's getting
Sorry
a 5.
if that was loud.
Or taste wise, getting a 5. Mouthful.
Aroma. I'm still on the aroma.
The aroma's getting a 1 for me. It sucks. Appearance. It's dark. Getting a 2.
Kate is wondering how Ray is doing.
Ray is doing good. Ray's in here.
Look at you guys all talking to each other.
That's the whole point. Yeah, everybody loves.
We're
each
all
other.
hanging out.
See?
This is so much fun.
Um.
And then Tom left.
So
I'm
this is definitely a good beer.
yes.
I'm gonna finish this.
Would you drink the whole thing and would you drink another one after?
Yes, I would drink. I would actually drink probably many of these.
Mm,
It's a very good beer
yes, I like it. Good.
through and through.
Okay, so this is you said this was brewed in
Oviedo, Florida.
Oviedo. We did Claremont and now we did Oviedo.
So
Okay.
this one will get finished.
How do you like your mouth feel?
It's
Do you forget? There's a little bit more if you want to try.
no,
again.
it's just it doesn't feel light.
Denied.
It's like a the mouthfeel would almost feel like a blue moon.
Oh. I like it. It's light, but it's also beery. If beery's a word.
I like the taste of beer.
I also enjoy the taste of beer.
Yeah, so that's a good beer.
Okay,
All right, we're on our last,
we're on the last of mine.
but we have more to try, so we'll probably do that in the third act. But let's do the
Okay.
3 of 3.
I have a little bit of a surprise for you.
Christ. Number
Why
2.
do you say that?
I hate surprises.
So,
Let's see.
have you ever had I love Guinness, Kate.
That's my second favorite beer.
I love Guinness. It's so satisfying. And the head on Guinness is hello.
Let me ask you, have you I'm just popping in to say hi. Okay, well you come
Kate,
back.
I
anytime
feel like
want.
you should hang out for a little bit longer.
Yeah, she'll come back.
So,
I'll put goats in our Minecraft room again. I did that.
you play Minecraft?
No, I actually did it. I made Tom do it. I don't play.
Oh.
I don't know what to do with it.
Kate, thank you for bringing up Guinness because that's actually like my top 3 beers. I
Mine
love
too.
Guinness. In the colder months, I really like a Guinness.
Cherry,
Crave it.
Guinness, and Rolling Rock.
Okay.
Another beer.
Tom,
All right.
thank you. Thank you for coming back.
Well, I had to get another beer, and then I realized, oh shit, my comforter was still in the dryer, and I had clothes waiting to go in the dryer. Yeah.
You're so responsible while you drink your beer.
We are almost into Act 2.
Okay, we are about to bring Barry on, but we have
Well, Barry's got to come in
Well,
first.
yeah, he's got to be here first,
Got
otherwise
some
it makes
time.
it
He's got a
tough.
little bit of time. I asked him to give us a little bit of time.
I put a little spin here, and I hope you don't mind.
It's not liquor, right? Because I don't drink liquor.
It's not liquor. This is a beer tasting. But guess what I did? Guess what I did? I brought in an NA beer.
Non-alcoholic? My favorite one is actually a Santa beer, which is non-alcoholic.
Okay, so I am at. Okay, Tom. I saw.
What's
the
the point?
Yeah.
Okay, look it. So I'm at a point in my life where I love the
Let me
taste
guess.
of
Is
beer.
this a mango beer?
I love the taste of beer, but I don't like the way beer leaves me feeling. And sometimes you need to drive the frick home. Am I right? So
I still do it anyway.
you didn't do that. You
You
didn't
said that laugh.
So I Googled what top rated NA beers because I like the taste of beer,
So
but sometimes the girls got to drive home.
right off the bat, this one gets a strike from me.
It does not.
Has to.
Why?
Because it's an NA.
It's a beer.
It's a soda.
It is not. Okay,
You
so
you can't win this one with me.
it's called Athletic,
Okay.
and there was one called.
It ran itself to a 0. But I'll try it.
You're gonna try it and you're gonna like it because sometimes,
All right, so Kraken.
you don't want to feel like shit the next day. Yeah, I said it.
How come that keeps doing that?
It goes to sleep after a while.
Just play shows. Play a BB3 show. It should have played earlier.
This is brewed in San Diego, California. Actually, it's got two companies. It's in
Diego, California.
It's in Milford, Connecticut, and
I
San
picked
Diego.
more Florida than you today. You're picking my
I did
favorite
2
state.
Floridas, maybe.
I gotta say,
don't know.
I do respect the fact that you found a non-alcoholic beer because if I had the Santa beers, I would have brought one so you could try it. If I knew you were pulling that, I would have got one for
And
you.
actually, guys, it's actually become like.
Lucky for me, I get my beer from next door. What's
Well,
next?
I wish I could get mine for free like that.
Was it a hot day today, Tom? You look like you're caught in the sun.
You've caught the sun.
Whatever, I can't read either.
Oh yeah. It's been a warm day. I've been out mowing and shit.
Good for you.
Aroma.
Wow, look at that behind you.
Wow. Who's
Did you
that?
see that dude rocking out?
You brought that over. Smell it.
Oh, forgot. I was staring at the screen with the screen. I gotta say, this is a better smelling one out of all of them.
Thank you.
I give it a 4 aroma.
So maybe sometimes you feel like
Yeah.
I like the taste of beer,
Wait,
but like watching football and stuff, you want the
it
taste
smells
of beer.
like rosemary.
It smells
Well,
like beer.
I smell.
Already, that's bad for me. I hate Rosemary. So.
I smell a plant.
I don't know who she is, but I hate her.
You just like Mary Jane.
Oh yeah, man. I really like Mary Jane.
Okay, so check out the head.
That's a lot less than the other ones.
It's
This-
it's only a little bit of head.
You know what this smells like? I'm not
A
gonna
little
lie.
bit, isn't it?
It's just a little bit.
You know what this
Little
smells
bit.
like? This smells in between an IPA and marijuana.
So it's got the
They-
head. It's
They do have the infused beer too.
and when I was
There's no
looking at
marijuana in
this, I noticed
Right?
that no, as far as I know, shit. The thing is when I was looking at this, I noticed there was hemp water. There was like
You're kidding me, right?
this is not the hemp water, but there is also within NA's in that section there was hemp water, which I haven't tried before. This is a
What
non-
doesn't do
Smells like
anything?
marijuana.
okay. So this is a non-alcoholic brew, but it's not completely zero. It
Wait a
contains
minute.
less than 0.5%.
Because there is
So
a
you get
beer
a little
that
bit.
there is a beer that has
A little
marijuana,
bit.
and it is actually at that store we went to. I don't do good with marijuana. I'll be.
It's not marijuana. Jeez.
This smells just like it. Fuck it.
It's the hemp.
That's-
It's not.
That's the hops.
Okay. At Athletic Brewing Company, we are pioneering a craft brew revelation. We believe you shouldn't have to sacrifice your ability to be at your best to enjoy great brews.
I'm gonna be real with you.
So we created our innovative lineup of refreshing non-alcoholic craft brews.
Taste, it's an absolute 0.
It's good. If you like craft
It's
beer,
terri-
you
it's
will
terrible.
like this.
Well, that's the problem though. Like a lot of people don't like craft beer though. Like your average beer drinkers don't like.
What this tastes like to me? There's a slight a flavor to it, and then it just tastes like water. Appearance bland. I'll give it a 1.
You just don't like it because it doesn't have alcohol.
No, it's not even that. Like I would give it a chance because I'd like you to taste that. The mouthfeel does feel good. Like I mean, it goes down good. It's just like water. So I'm going to give that a 3 because if that's what you want, it goes down smooth, but it's like water.
So would you guys like to hear a semi-offensive joke
Sure.
that I heard today? What's worse than 2 lesbians running with scissors? 2 lesbians scissoring with the runs.
Oh, gross.
I could not stop laughing. I could not.
But she looks like Lori
Who's
Petty.
Lori Petty? I gotta
I don't
Google
know.
that.
Lori Petty? You don't know who Lori Petty
You
is?
guys ill, Tom. Tom, you just ruined it. So that to me is going to be the least of the favored. And not just because the non-alcoholic. Just
Yes,
tastes-
it is.
just
That's
tastes-
what it is.
No, it just tastes like water.
That's what it is.
That was what you picked for number 3?
Kate, I can see where you say that. There is a little bit of Lori Pettiness there.
I gotta. Is she
Can I
related
get
to
the
Tom
six-
Petty?
Can I get the 6-pack real quick? All right. So this is what I've chosen because this is the end game now. She's done 3. I've done 3. And we're going to bring Barry in when he gets here. So
Barry.
I'm going to let her pick the 3rd taste.
Her.
Monica.
Yes. Being Monica, right, Tom?
The pastry, cookies and cream.
Ugh, no, God, why would you involve sweets in alcohol?
Well,
There's always room for sweets.
Not in beer.
unseen creatures. Actually, if you look at this,
Ooh,
it's
I
got a cool
love
little
that
owl.
can. Look
That's-
at that owl.
that's why I bought
My
Now,
mom's favorite
Read
is
that.
owls.
Doesn't it look like it's bending?
Yes, it's like
Unseen
trippy.
creatures.
Yes.
We're
gonna let Tom choose.
Thirst control. Pilsner with the flamingo. I bought it because it looks like.
Why is there like a
I
pinkness?
don't know. I
to
just
it, or-
I bought it because of the bird.
And
But I mean, is there some kind of like
got a
fruity flavoring to it?
Now many probably will make a joke about this can coloring, but I picked this because of what it read, and this is why I took pictures of everything.
So this is my beer.
Stonewall. I knew you were gonna see. It's a little.
I didn't even see it yet.
I know. So, but what it said on there was, neither way, we're gonna try
Oh
this
my
one
God,
on
your
live.
password is the same as mine.
Really?
Well, I only have 4, but you have 5.
They're all the same.
Yes. Kate.
So this is what it said. This is why I really liked it. This is why I picked it. New York American IPA, 4% alcohol. Stonewall in IPA is a fearless IPA for all, with unabashed notes of citrus peel and grapefruit. The unapologetic and refreshing IPA reminds me of where we've been and celebrates where we're going. This is a beer for everyone, no expectations.
I don't know about grapefruit.
No expectations is good. You should never have expectations.
I like the way it said
It's the key to disappointment.
where we've been before
Wait,
and
wait,
where we're
wait.
going.
Tom is choosing.
Tom's going to choose.
Okay,
Oh.
so Tom, you have the patriarchy.
No,
Oh, you don't like the cream and cookie?
no.
This one. What's the name of it? Brooklyn.
We're going
The
to
fact that it has grapefruit in it, I'd say that's probably not going to be good, but I could be wrong.
The Unseen Creations. It's got
That one's cool.
I'm excited about that one.
Does it got apples on the picture too?
just flowers and vines.
That
And
Brooklyn one's heavy IPA.
I feel like Dom already made the choice.
Well, no, he's going to make
Um,
it. Either way, we're trying that Brooklyn.
No, he's going to drink it no matter what. I mean,
Right.
Thirst controls pills.
Pilsner.
Which one do you?
Pilsners are okay, but they're usually a little lacking in flavor.
I think he's going to choose the owl.
Yeah, I think the owl might be all right.
I think we're all
I like it.
about the appearance here.
All right,
So-
before you crack that, we're going to Brooklyn first. And we're just
so
doing
your
a sip.
choice doesn't matter.
No, it is, but we're just doing a sip of that. We're not doing a whole thing. We're doing a sip of the Brooklyn. That's it.
Just a little sip.
Just a little.
All
The
right.
tip.
With nothing,
Okay.
with nothing else.
Look at the
Look at-
head. We got to check out the head. The
Yeah.
head is
Now-
very important.
So
There's
the-
a lot more head on that little tiny bit than there was in your non-alcoholic beer.
Tom, whose head do you like better? Mine or Dom?
He's gonna
Mine.
say. So, this is what they say. This is for times before and what's coming. So let's just try it. Delicious.
Very good.
That's
Delicious.
the grapefruit one.
You wouldn't like it, Tom. It's like a craft beer.
Yeah. See, The only reason I don't like craft beers and IPAs is that they put way too much hops in it. And at 50 years old, the acid reflux is real, and hops cause that acid reflux.
But you don't love the flavor of hops?
No.
Oh.
I like regular traditional beers, like the lagers and stuff like, you know what I mean? Like I'm more of that, like the heavier beers, of course. But the only IPA that I really like is Mad Elf. And you can taste the hops in that, but it's not overbearing. And there is a fruitiness to it as well, which is why I say it would be a good summer beer, but it comes out only in the winter. So it's weird.
What's the alcohol content on your ice?
On the Molson Ice, I think it's 7.6. Wait a minute. I have to bring out the old man glasses.
Ooh, you look so much smarter now.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's 5.6. All right, but in Mad Elf, let me look that up real quick.
Crack it while he looks it up.
Check out the sound. Kate, are you listening? Here we go. This is for you, girl. Oh yeah.
Sounds like
Mad Elf has 11% alcohol.
Smell.
11%.
Smell.
You want to smell it? This is so weird.
That's one of the reasons why I love Mad Elf. It's the high alcohol content, but the taste is actually really good too.
I didn't smell anything. I think it's the cans.
That's why
I
it's
do
good
smell
to,
it. I do smell
good to
it.
pour it in the
It smells like beer. I'm gonna like it.
Well, cans suck for beer. It's why bottles are where it's at.
And this is the Unseen Creatures.
Smells good. I'm giving
That's
it.
the owl one.
Yeah.
This is, you're going to love this one. Did you see where this is? This is from Miami, Florida.
Fuck me. Why did
Look
I buy
at
all?
you.
En Benito, Ami.
Yes, see, papi. Let's do this.
Did you have a good day, Tom?
Yeah, it was all right. I got to mow the garden, so I was happy.
Oh, nice work.
My garden in my park. That's where I started in that park. So I took care of my stuff.
Delicious.
Very interesting.
See?
How would you describe the flavor of Unforeseen Creatures? It's got a honey flavor, right?
Honey.
Barry, you better come on soon if you want to say hi to me, because I'm about this far away from having to go. Just saying.
Berry's worth waiting for, Tom.
Well, but I only have like an hour and a half before Stephanie's here, and I still have to shower and shave and I have to make Dad's dinner too. So
Tom, do you wear cologne?
I did, but I haven't for a long time.
I think you should throw it on tonight.
I don't have any. The last thing I had that it was even remotely like cologne was aftershave.
No,
That was Aqua Velvet.
that works too. I love it.
But I haven't had that in a while.
Okay, so we are doing Unforeseen Creatures.
It doesn't say really anything about the beer. It's good.
That's good. That's
No,
what-
I just there's no like.
the aroma.
See, the one I picked is good.
Good
Are
job.
you spitting it back out?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm sipping. I live by.
It looked like you were spitting it back
Wait,
out in the cup. I was
okay.
gonna say your alcohol card is revoked.
No. Could I drink more than one of these? I think I could drink 20 of these.
Ray, that would be a very dangerous thing for me to live by.
What's the alcohol content? 4%.
1?
4.
Oh, I thought you said 1. I'm like, damn, that's not even worth it.
It's I think it's a 5.
Go ahead.
No,
Yes,
taste
go
it.
with your instinct.
no, I think it's a 5 as far as the taste. Yeah,
See, I could just tell by looking at a beer if it's going to be good or not.
appearance it's
You
a
have
1.
that
Here's the
intuition.
I do.
Mouthfeel,
Beer tuition.
mouthfeel. I'm going to give it a 3 because it's very light.
Well, that's what you want in a beer, though. You want it to be light when you're drinking it. You know,
That's a good beer.
not too light where you're gonna chug it, but
Ooh.
a little light.
In my head, it just got grossed out because I thought of the taste of the cookies and cream one.
I want to try
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you go for it.
Try it later. In the third act, we're going to try it. You're going to miss it, Tom.
We
But
should probably put that back in the cooler then.
I'm telling you, sweets and beer do not mix.
That
Once
one-
I drink beer, if I'm like at a birthday party and then cake comes out after I've been drinking beer, I'm like,
Don't say nothing about cake.
cake.
I'm fucking with you.
Okay, so I'm still grading here, and I am on the fence about this one.
Hell, I can't even imagine if I was at a birthday party and cake came out. I'd be like, oh,
If Kate came out while I was at a birthday party, I'd be like, "Hey, girl, where have you been?"
I would love it. I've never met. They live in Chicago, Kate and Nick. And
Oh, Chi-Town. Okay, Chi-Town.
yeah. Well, Kate lives near Chicago, not in Chicago.
Oh, she lives in Illinois.
Illinois.
If I was to give a grade on the mouthfeel of Unseen Creatures, what would I give it?
I'm just waiting on Barry,
Barry.
so we could actually do more beer tasting until he's ready.
We can taste more beer. Let's bring out the cookies. Let's
Oh,
make Tom quiver.
I don't
okay.
know. Yeah, okay.
I'm just chuckling about the term mouthfeel. It's
Where do you go back and rewatch?
Look
the
at me
show?
like grabbing the can. I'm just like, yeah.
Damn,
Okay,
homie.
so who needs a cup
In high school, you was the
again?
man, homie.
who cares about sophistication? Just
Right? Why are we pretending here? Okay.
open up the tequila and drink it right out of the bottle. You know.
I know. What are
All
those
right.
things that
Barry,
you used to
Barry
do?
is coming in, so what we're gonna
Beer
do?
bomb.
So taste that real quick, crack that. When Barry comes in, we're gonna go to a quick intermission, and then Tom, just be there. You can say hello, and
Look
then
at Tom's name is
Yeah.
back. Okay.
I had to.
I
check-
was saying, what was that thing you used to do where
Beer bongs.
the thing where they would pour the stuff down and you would?
Beer bongs.
Is that what it was?
Yes. It was a funnel up top and
I
then
never
a long
did it.
tube.
I only watch.
Oh my God! If you could take it down all the way down to the end, you're a god.
Oh, Jesus!
I told you.
I was like, crap. I'm
I
not
know
even.
my beer.
This is the cookies and cream, Tom. We're doing this for
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
We're doing the dirty work for you. Do you appreciate it?
disgusting.
Sure.
That's an absolute disgust.
I can almost taste it in my mouth. It's weird. It's
I feel like it's borderline Guinness.
oh
No,
no.
it's worse.
That's just the texture. That's not the taste.
I would drink one. I would drink a whole one.
I could understand that the texture would be almost like Guinness because it's smooth.
Yes.
But the taste is probably nothing comparison.
Oh my God! It's not Guinness. It
It's
tastes
not
like
that bad.
no. It tastes like Guinness with liquor or something in it.
And wait, it's more like Genesee.
I think it's worse than that.
I can honestly say I've never had a Genesee.
Oh, you're missing out. You got to have it room temperature too.
Total your totals.
Uh,
Okay, so my winner is the very first one. I totaled mine, and so we were doing a 1 through 5 for aroma, appearance, taste, and mouthfeel. And my number one total was 14.
My
And
dad's here.
it was the coconut ale, the Paradiso, the very first one.
I didn't mark mine.
That's okay. What is your number one? And I'll tell you what it is. This was a lot of work. This was a lot of work that we did not anticipate.
We're gonna tie.
Beer
there, but
tasting is hard.
Mine
Which
is
one?
not a tie, but it's the third beer.
Okay, so no. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3.
Boom! It's the boom. You brought the boom.
Yeah,
It's this one.
the boom.
That was your win.
That's my favorite beer.
So mine was the hot chick on the Hawaiian chick on the can from Claremont, Florida. And Dom's win was the boom.
And my second would be your lime beer from San Diego.
And where was this one from? We didn't talk much about the alcohol content, which, whatever. This is a blonde ale. Oh, good. This boom is in partnership with the Kingdom Nil to support UCF student athletes. So that's great. And then mine, the 2 winners, we support the athletes and we support the veterans. So look at us doing good things.
I'm just talking to her right now as we go through
The
this.
one with the goose on it. What was it called?
This was Boom.
Oh, I thought I only saw the BOO. I was like, oh my god, dude, your ghost has a beer. Because Dom used to have a little ghost behind him named Boo. And so, if for those of you longtime viewers might remember. Matter
Tom.
of fact, wait. Matter of fact.
Hey, Tom.
Fact, look, right there.
Hold on.
That's Boo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait, he's showing us Boo.
Give me 1 second. You guys aren't going to see us for a second, as I got to do one little quick thing. So as we talk, you could kind of see us. Tom, you can still see us, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of working a link real quick. I'm going to get the link over to Barry again. There was a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'll make
There's
it
Boo.
go fast.
See, look, it even says Boo.
Tom, what's date night like tonight? What are you guys doing?
We're going out for dinner and drinks.
Where are you
I don't
going
know.
for dinner?
I have no idea. I asked her if she had an idea for a place and a time. She said, I don't know where, but 7:30. So I have an hour and a half. I have an hour and a half to shower, shave, cook Dad's dinner, and be ready to go.
There he
There
is.
he is.
Okay. There you are.
So,
So,
me do it. You do it.
all right.
I do it.
Wait, hold on. We're going to do a quick intermission real quick. We're going to do a little commercial, and we're going to come right back. We're going to bring everybody down,
Look at Nick.
and we got this. Barry, just stay with us. Thank you, brother. You got it.
Stay right there, man.
The link was messed up. That was on me.
You are now live with BB3 TV.
Listen, ditch
that BB3 TV.
BB3 TV, we underground. The only network touching your soul. Repping the streets, we on the roll. Forget the airwaves, crept in the studio, broadcasting live. That's how we do, yo. We the raw, uncut, no need to censor. Changing the game, remember to remember.
Barry, what's happening?
Look at this guy.
Hear me?
Technical difficulties.
Barry, look
well,
at
hey.
your chat.
You know, I warn you about these things, but how are you?
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's what I've been having here. I don't know if you just saw that. Barry, I'm doing good, brother. It's always nice seeing you. Introducing me to Monica.
You know, Monica, I just want to say I have the face for radio and you have a face for camera. So, Tom, hi, it's good to see you.
And
Ooh, I like this guy. Let's
Yeah.
talk more.
Joining me is my little princess back here. She's Miss Mia. So,
I am refraining from being vulgar. I really am.
oh, okay.
We're not going to talk about your blank
Hey.
cat behind you.
Don't talk about her like that. She's my
That's
little
it.
princess.
I love your little kitty. Look at your little kitty.
Yeah, she's a good girl. Well, anyways, great to be here. It's been too long.
It's been a minute, man.
How many years now?
Well, it's
Over a year.
2023. So, you know,
Wow, was it that long ago?
yeah,
Wow.
the end of 2023, I believe, or it's summer. So, yeah. Anyways, it's been a while.
We dove into some things. I've got some. We've got a lot to talk about. So Barry, I mean, we've already been introduced to you, so we're gonna just recap, introduce yourself again, and then I got the pictures that you sent me. We're gonna talk about your entire career, through and through, like from the movies down to the special effects, right down to the science of what you've been
Okay.
doing. So,
And I think we talk about all my successes, but I have a lot more failures. So we can.
Well, me
For
too.
anybody listening out there, you must have failures in order to learn and keep growing, and so we can talk about some struggles too. We don't need to go down the rabbit hole too long, but
My last video was a failure, so yeah, I'd say,
I just think it's important for people to understand. It's you gotta work hard and keep going. You just can't give up when you
Nope.
hit some hard.
I love you, Barry. You
Oh
are
wow! Hey, it's. I'm gonna say this much: the guys are awesome, but having you there just brings an extra spark to the show. And glad you're there. And also, I want to just say that I had some catching up to do. So I've got my Orange Blossom Pilsner with me.
You have to try Orange Blossom.
everybody,
Have an empty
From
beer.
Lakeland, Florida. It's 5.5. So
he's here.
Lakeland, Florida. What is the aroma like? Tell us.
It smells like orange.
it's got a little citrus, but it's not overbearing. It's quite nice and refreshing. It's a Pilsner, and I like it. And it was in my refrigerator, so there you go. But
When it's in your mouth, what does it feel like? The mouth feel.
Whoa! On that, I'm gonna get another beer. Right?
it's not overwhelming. It's a nice, refreshing beer, but it still has a nice, strong beer taste to it. It's very good. I like it. And I enjoy a good beer, and a couple of these will take care of the situation when I'm out barbecuing. It's all good.
That's what I said. So there was this beer earlier from San Diego about the barbecuing beer. Where was that thing?
Yeah.
Good thing right there.
This one?
Yeah. This one here, Barry.
Oh, I was watching that. Yeah, that looked interesting. So,
That's a good
of
beer.
course, I have my winter ales and other things. I like some Sam Adams and stuff. But I enjoy a variety, for sure. But yeah, I was getting thirsty watching you guys. So
Well, the next time you have to join us. Now you see the in-person things that we're doing that we're all in the same
I love
state.
it.
Would
I
you like
love
to
it.
Barry? Come hang out.
I'm here. I'm ready.
Well,
That's
listen, it's a lot easier for you to hang out with them in person than it is for me because
Tom, I don't want to hear your excuses.
I'm a bit further away.
Just a plain
Oh.
ride.
Okay. Yes. Well.
Or a 24-hour drive,
Yes. You sure are.
Well, if you can't.
You go
stand
hang
it.
around in Philadelphia graveyards and things like that, and do interesting
Wow.
stuff. So,
I do what I can for my people.
Yeah.
man.
you dig your job over there.
I see where you went with that.
I'm sorry.
No.
I
That
love
was
that.
funny.
I'm a dad. I do a lot of dad jokes. Sorry.
Me too. I've been a dad for 27 years, so it's
Awesome.
just turned 50 recently. So I can tell by the gray.
You're a youngin' then. Okay. Well, you get to
Tom
my
keeps
age.
Throwing the 50 card like he's gonna get something out of it.
Nah.
You're living, dude. Good job.
The only thing I got out of it was that I get mailers from AARP. That's all I got out of it.
Well, I get a lot of robocalls about that stuff. So
Yeah, me too.
So as we move forward too with everything, I'm going to put up one picture real quick that Barry showed. This is just a slight overlay. The IMDb of Barry and all his work and so much more.
Wait, you worked on Hairspray?
yeah, I did actually. So we
Like the
could say
original
this
one?
could be the good, the bad, and the ugly of my career here. But yeah, I actually did work with John Travolta.
That
for the
one.
movie Hairspray.
I thought when I saw it for a second, I couldn't see the details. I thought maybe it was the one with
Yeah, the original.
Ricky Lake. Was it weird?
Yeah.
was it Ricky Lake?
Actually, I like the original. I mean, the remake was really nice, and it had a lot of celebrities. It was a fun movie, and people did an amazing job. But the original John Waters films, they're not for everybody. But I loved Crybaby, and I liked Hairspray. Those were fun.
Ricky Lake was in that too.
Yeah.
So having such an elaborate lineup of everything you've been in, I mean, and it worked on, I mean, just like, where do you even start with somebody like of your career?
It's been a wild ride. I'll just say that much. For coming from a little blue collar town, I was least likely to succeed in high school. I struggled in school. I really did, and I was a daydreamer. Just kind of drifting through. But I had a passion for film. I was a quirky kid. I was the monster kid. When all the other kids were playing baseball and football, I couldn't even figure out how the hell they kept score. I mean, I'm a dyslexic kid, and I had other interests, but not that I didn't play in the neighborhood with the kids with that and, build forts and all that stuff. I had my pals, but I was also interested in scary movies, building monster models and, building. I was designing forts while they were playing, football in the street or whatever, and then I would gather them together and say, come on, we're going to make something. So it's just that creative. I always needed to create stuff. And it was my art teacher who talked me into going to art school, which was a miracle in itself that happened. And, when I was in Pittsburgh going to art school, I found out about George Romero and Tom Savini, who had made the Dawn of the Dead at the mall. The kids in the neighborhood told me about that. And I was like, I need to find out about this guy. I need to meet these guys. That's what I want to do. I wanted to make monsters. And, by amazing chance, I don't know, it's synchronicity, I guess. A few years after that, with my obsession, thinking about how I wanted to meet these people, I actually get a chance to work with them in 1980.
Hyper jealous.
And I got out of school. My whole career, I have no degree in anything that really means anything, but somehow I ended up working with people with PhDs and master's degrees in the end, But I started off, I was kind of a screwball in art school, just partying away and having a good old time, and I had a hard time keeping track of my classes and things, which is I'm 8. I wasn't diagnosed until as a grown adult, find out I'm ADHD, but that explains some things to me. I went, oh, no wonder I can't keep schedule, but yet I managed to survive and focus my once I had my passion, I started to focus and made the priority, that I wanted to get involved in film. When I moved to Florida, saw that going on, and I just somehow worked my way got my foot in the door.
What was your somehow? You said you somehow got your way into the door. You have you got to be real about where you've been, because you made
I met some interesting people that were trying to make films and so forth. And one of the early things that I worked on was a documentary on schizophrenia. They wanted me to make all this hallucinatory effects stuff. And I didn't have a shop. I had lived in an apartment with my mother, which I had not lived with my mom. Moved in with her, moved to Florida and moved in with her. And the next thing, she's got her freezer full of eyeballs and body parts in the refrigerator. And she's like, what's that red stain on the rug? I'm like, it's blood. But
Barry, where did you get to, how did you get to that? I was reading Dom shared your information with me, and I was reading, how did you get from the point of high school to knowing what body parts look like, and how were you able to, was that just instinctual, or how much training did you have to be able to get there?
As a kid, my grandmother worked in a funeral home.
Oh.
And, so I remember getting some mortician's wax as a kid. So I was putting cuts on kids and getting vampire blood and, doing that kind of stuff. So as a prankster as a kid, really enjoyed, the moms in the neighborhood get mad because the kids would run home, pretend they're hurt. And, then when I got hurt, actually did get hurt and ran in the house, my mother would be like, get out of the house with that blood. And I got blood pouring out of my eye, and So Boy Who Cried Wolf kind of thing. So I was dabbling around a little bit as a kid, but I didn't have access to, I'm in a small town. I saw they had monster magazines, famous monsters of filmland.
Fangoria.
Eventually, Fangoria. I'm old, so Fangoria was in my high school years, but that's when I started realizing all the people that were the effects people and what they were doing. And while I moved from Pittsburgh, I transferred down to Florida because it just seemed like a better place to be at the time, and it was a good opportunity. I transferred schools, but one day I just coincidentally was walking past a conversation, and they were talking about a makeup effects school down in Miami that taught film makeup. Well, they taught all phases of film makeup, beauty, all that stuff. And it stopped me in my tracks, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what? Hey, hi, can you tell me what you're talking about?" And when I found out about this place, I got in my little 1971 Volkswagen Beetle and drove down to Miami from Fort Lauderdale, looking in this warehouse district for this little place, and I run into it, and there's a bay door rolled up, and there's a guy sitting in there sculpting a gorilla head, and I slam. I was a punk rock kid. I mean, with the wild hair and I was into bands. I knew all kinds of bands down there, and I was silk screening T-shirts through my art school years to make money, and hanging out with in the clubs and everything. And I show up, and this crazy art student kid jumps out of the car and goes, "Holy crap!
You can say shit.
Parental advisory.
Holy shit! You're doing what I want to do, man." And of course, the guy's name is Dean Gates, and he's like, "Whoa, who's this crazy character?" And I was like, "Oh, how do I get into this? This is what you're doing. What I want to do." And he's like, "Well, hi, I'm Dean. I'm one of the instructors here." And I was like, "Okay, how much does it cost? I got to do this. This is my call. I wanted to do this. I told my counselor in high school that's what I wanted to do." He just stared at me with a blank look and goes, "Mr. Anderson, with your grades, you'll be lucky if you do anything, kind of thing." And
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, I know it's terrible, but it just seemed every time I told people that I was interested in doing something like that, they just looked at me. They had no idea how to even, that's not a job, is it? And Dean gave me some information about the school, and I dropped out of. I was going to commercial art school at the time. I dropped out of the commercial arts school, even though I was almost ready to graduate.
Commercial arts sucks.
And took whatever the remaining money and
I did it.
Signed up for this school, and I was like, I'll beg, borrow, steal the money if I have to go to this thing. But the only downfall for me, and I don't mean to, this is not a bad thing for a lot of people, was that they were like, well, you have to go through all the courses. You have to take beauty makeup, fashion makeup. I had no interest in this. I mean, there are people who are really good at it. And it was kind of nice. I got paid to do makeup on all these beautiful women in Miami, but it was not really, well, some of it was kind of weird, the whole scenario. I've worked on with Mikhail Baryshnikov in a ballet, Cinderella, and there were all these fan women outside from all over the world waiting to get a glimpse of him. And I come out and they go, "Oh, it's not him,"
It's the makeup guy.
But so I did. When I first got out of the school, I tried to get into that, but I thought I don't really enjoy this so much. So I had these skills. I had all the skills for a commercial artist from this, already, and so I focused on that, and I focused on special effects makeup, and just specialize on it, even though it limited me as to how, a lot of work. I could have probably worked a lot more had I done all phases of makeup. But it's interesting. A lot of people who do beauty makeup and fashion did not do the effects stuff back then, especially. So it worked out for me, because there wasn't a lot of competition down in South Florida. And Dean Gates turned out to be a great friend, but I ended up working as his assistant. And I was like, dude, you need help. I'm here. And he's like, well, you got to be responsible. You know, I'm 23 years old and a party guy. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, at 6:30 in the morning, you need to be ready because I'll come and get you. And but if you know, and I was like, all right, I'm there, and I was, and so I worked with him as an assistant, and you know, that really helped me get my foot in the door. Worked on a lot of TV commercials and stuff, and eventually Dean went his way and I went mine. But that was kind of really how I got my foot in the door. Is just I don't want to say I'm a butt kisser or anything because I never have been, but in this case, I was like, I scrubbed his molds in the shop and stuff. I did a lot of work inside the lab, you know, to help him
It's a
out.
shame Tom didn't have his school back then, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that would have helped you out a lot.
But the interesting thing is, in 1984, you know, while all this was going on, I was actually trying. My mother talked me into trying out acting and to get an agent. So I was out doing cold readings for things, even though I took a couple little mini acting courses. But I think we talked about this before that, you know, I wasn't really comfortable about being in front of a camera, but you know, and you got to have thick skin for this. I mean, my God, I got called back several times for like major, you know, Coca-Cola commercials and stuff. And you just get so disappointed, like, you know, over and over again. You walk into a room and there's 10 other people and they all look better looking and more muscles, look like GQ. And I'm like punk rock guy, you know. But that was what made me get a lot of phone calls in casting. And that ultimately, that's how I ended up on Vice was from that.
I feel like I knew Tom was going to do that too. I feel like what you said there should be helpful to a lot of people, especially in industry. Like when you walk into a room and there's 10, 20, 30, you know, 100 people that you think look better than you. I don't think that, like, I think that's the self-confidence where it's like, you know, that's the self-judgment that won't get you the job, but like you might get the job and you're just already putting yourself down. I try to tell myself this over and over too, like even going into my own jobs and things like I'm like, you know, maybe I'm not good enough for this, but you've been good enough for this and you've proven to us, everybody, and yourself that you are good enough. And that's the look that they were looking for. So I think everyone goes into these rooms, especially auditions, thinking, you know, well, what if somebody's better? You know, I think we should start not doing that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Is it wrong that I started thinking of Stuart Smalley when you said that? Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
So
you know, it's funny because I started to do things because, you know, as a kid I was shy. I was a shy kid. I grew up in a dysfunctional home, and I grew up in a poor working class neighborhood, a block from a factory, you know, and later on in high school, you know, in my as I was growing up, I just kind of followed along with some of the kids, you know. And eventually, I made my own way and started going. No, I'm gonna, you know, do. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go do my own thing or whatever. But when I moved to Fort Lauderdale, and I decided to reinvent myself because, you know, things in Pittsburgh got a little crazy up there with the local kids and. Yeah, I was living in a party house, and it just
gotta watch out for those Pennsylvania kids, man.
You know, because I always had goals, and you know, if you're hanging out with people who don't have goals in life, you're not going to go anywhere. You know, you gotta. And I had dreams, you know, and even though they were far in the background somewhere, it's brewing in there. There still was that dream. So when I got to Fort Lauderdale, I decided to do some crazy things that I would never have. And I mean, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this stuff a little bit, but
please share.
I decided to do some crazy things to push myself to try to do something. So I entered a lip syncing competition as Billy Idol in a huge
Billy Vanilli style.
Billy Idol.
Yeah. But this thing was like from a TV show called Putting on the Hits. Anyways, there were all kinds of people that were like professional Elvis impersonators and stuff, you know, and it was weird, you know. I was like, okay, I almost quit. I was like, no, I'm not going to do this, you know, but I was like, no, you got to do this. And I won first place and I won like $1,000 prize, you know, and that, you know, then I did other crazy things like that and tried out for some. I tried out for some parts in some films. One of them was called Incident at Channel Q, and it was a heavy metal film. It was like a midnight movie. I tried out for one of the lead actors' buddies, and they called me back several times, and I ended up not getting. I get just nervous, but the guy who was, I'm going to try to remember his name now. The guy that was the director of this film, the man who was producing it, he was the man who owned a graphic arts company that did all kinds of classic rock music album covers, include, you know, in the beginning of Pink Floyd, all the Pink Floyd, and it was a company called oh gosh darn it, what is it? I'm gonna draw a blank. Darn it. Well, anyways, they're from England, and the guy, he was intense. You know, they actually have a documentary on Netflix about him, and you know, it was very interesting to say the least. But he had connections to all these people, so he made a B film, but he put all these major classic heavy metal videos in this movie. I mean, we're talking Iron Maiden, we're talking Kiss, we're talking Lita Ford. I mean,
I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. It's you can't find this film anymore. You know, it's like, well, you can on YouTube, but you know, it was like about a VJ, a video jockey guy who holds himself up in the station while all these people were protesting the devil music that's being played on there. And I ended up as an extra in this thing and got into a big fight scene in an ice cream shop of all things with a bunch of jocks or something. It ruined my leather jacket. But, you know, and that was, but it was an interesting.
Cardinal sin back then.
What's that?
Cardinal sin back then to ruin your
leather jacket. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. When I first moved to Florida, I only knew how to dress from up north, and people would see me. And then I got into the punk thing. You know, I was already kind of dabbling in that in Pittsburgh. You know, because I saw the Ramones with the Runaways in 1977. I was 16 years old, and they were playing in my uncle's bar up in New York.
Wow.
And
that
was
made me feel young, by the way.
Introduction, because I was listening to a lot of, you know, weed music, I guess, if you will, you know, classic rock stuff.
I'm gonna have Monica.
Here's the Ramones, you know.
I'm gonna have Monica grab me some paperwork real quick. That we had some questions, so she's gonna step out for a moment.
Well, while she's doing that, I'm gonna take my egress.
Yeah.
Because I got to go get Dad's dinner and all that, and I got to shower. I have like an hour before my goddess gets here. So.
Yeah, because there's so much we need to dive into. So, all right.
But
Tom,
Barry, it was great seeing you again, man.
It's awesome to see you.
And I really appreciate that you comment on a lot of my stuff. I really do.
Hey, let's try to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. I love you, man.
It'll be in person.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I love what you do with the historic stuff. I've always been interested in that, and yeah, you got a great show.
One day I will make my way out to Pittsburgh because there are some filming locations I need to get to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But all right, I'll see you guys later.
See you later, buddy.
Yes, just keep me on track, Dom, because I'll go off on a tangent.
No. We're just keep going too because we got so many questions and like there's
awesome.
I've got pictures that I'm going to show, like including, you know, we're going to dive into this, you know, in a moment. Everything you showed. I mean, there's so much to do with your career here.
Well, you know, when there was a point when I started to realize that my film thing wasn't going anywhere in the state of Florida for me. And then I started to steer my career in a different direction. But, you know, I had a really fun ride with the film stuff, and we can, whatever you want to talk about.
It's just one of these things that, like, when you, coming from somebody who has such an elaborate career in the industry, not just from acting, the people you get to meet, the experience that you have to do. So let's just bring another picture up too, right here. Look at this.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of gruesome.
It's gruesome.
I am totally interested in, like, I kind of alluded to it before, but like, what kind of training did it take for you to get to know what that kind of stuff looks like so that you could recreate it?
Yeah, that's the thing that's amazing is I've always had, even though I grew up thinking I was stupid because I didn't do good in school, but reality was that I wasn't stupid, and I had interests. I had a lot of different interests, and I liked things that were where science and art kind of merged and so forth. And so I had an interest in forensic sculpting, which I took some courses on, and that was really interesting. And I made connections with people. One of the first things that I got into as an effects guy was working down at Miami-Dade Coroner's Office for a forensic photography workshop. And basically, they were training police investigators, crime scene investigators, how to go to a crime scene and photograph the scene, photograph all the evidence, and so on. So while I was there, I met blood spatter experts. I met the coroner's office, the medical examiners. And I really enjoyed being around these people with their knowledge. And so I, started to observe, it's, you got to look at real things. And in some cases, I worked with medical examiners, like the images you just saw were actually pretty much really close copies to the real victims of Eileen Wuornos, a couple of them. And so I worked with the medical examiner who looked at my work, and it was nice that I got some good compliments from the police and from the medical examiner on that. But when they first contacted me, that company that hired me was from the UK. And I said, I thought I was just going to do makeup. And then they sent me photographs of the real stuff. And I went, that's more than makeup. Those are props. I'm going to have to make fake bodies. And so that's what I did with that. But, by having those interests, it ultimately steered me in a whole different direction where I kind of got a sort of a specialized, because I was working in a lot of B films as a part-time, as a sideline, really. And because, when you have responsibilities, you got to pay bills, right? And the B films, the films weren't getting better. Rarely, once in a while, I'll get a nice big hit like Hairspray or something. But so a lot of them were just kind of, I was getting by, and my wife would go, "Why do you keep doing this?" Because I have a passion for it, of course.
Hey, I like it.
But when I started to get into the scientific end of things in the forensic, then I started getting hired to work on things like the Discovery Channel, the National Geographic Channel, PBS, Secrets of the Dead, where I was helping to recreate crime scene stuff. So, and I really liked that. And also, I had worked for Ripley Entertainment for 17 years, and I had access to seeing real mummies, seeing real shrunken heads, seeing a lot of skulls and other unusual artifacts like that as well. So,
is this one of these pictures that
well, this is fantasy art here, even though it's gruesome. That is the mummified head of Edward Teach, which is also known as Blackbeard. And I'm a history buff, right? So in the real story, Edward Teach, Blackbeard, had a confrontation with the Navy in North Carolina, off shores of Roanoke. And there was a fierce battle that went on, and he ended up getting his head cut off by a sword. And the governor of the Carolinas wanted Blackbeard so bad that he said, "I want his head," And basically, they tied Blackbeard's head to the bow of the ship and came into harbor with it. And I thought to myself, wow, what would it be like if that governor said, I'm keeping this head, you know? And this, I know, so I made the scenario up that the salt air, the air of the sea and the salts of the ocean helped to mummify it.
That's
Well,
pretty cool though.
so while I was making these things, my wife said, "Why are you making these disgusting things?" I'm like, "I just like mummies and history, right?" Well, that piece got sold at a prestigious treasure auction, actually, which blows my mind to this day. That you know, here's they sell real shipwreck items, and then they got this fake mummified head of Blackbeard, which was sold as a fake or a replica, I would say, you know, but if it even ever existed, but you know, it's just cool that it ended up in this prestigious treasure auction. So that was fun. And then I got to say to my wife, see, my weird ideas end up
Paying off.
and then what happened was I also got the attention of some mummy experts who came to Ripley Entertainment to look at a couple mummies that were in the warehouse. And they had a TV show called The Mummy Road Show on National Geographic. And I was a fan of the show. And when I found out that they were going to be next door to my work, to the art department, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to meet these guys. And they were over there they were going to x-ray and do endoscopy. And I just was like, don't care what anybody says. I'm taking the day off and watching these guys. Well, basically I offered them, you need any help? I've got a shop full of tools and supplies. And sure enough, you know, they were like, do you have a drill? You got any duct tape? And so I spent the day kind of being their gopher, more or less. And that was on a Friday. And they were the coolest guys. These guys were professors from Quinnipiac University. I'm an art guy I'm an artist's guy that, you know, and yet I had these replica mummies and they got to, I gave them a tour of the art department and they saw some of the museum figures that we were making over there. And they wanted to come back in on a weekend. And I offered to do that for them. I was like, I'll come in and open the place up for you and stay. And by doing that, we just hit it off. And they were like, I said, would you mind seeing if I could show you some of my replica mummies? And then when they saw that, they're like, holy crow, are you for hire? We want to hire you.
Wow.
Yeah, that was great. It's amazing how I started making these mummies, and then these mummy experts show up, then they hire me. It's like the synchronicity of it all is mind-blowing.
Is this part of it?
Yeah, well, that is my forensic facial reconstruction course that I took from a lady named Betty Gatliff. She worked with the FBI for many years, and I did that many years ago. But the guys from the National Geographic Mummy Roadshow, they hired me to recreate an Incan king mummy for reenactment scenes, and they shipped this mummy all the way to Peru. And after that, which they were really happy with this, one of the professors said, how would you like to travel to Peru up in the high cloud forests of the Andes with me and study real Chachapoyan mummies with a group of scientists?
Wow.
All expenses paid. And I ended up on this Indiana Jones trip. I told my wife, the scientist asked me if I want to go to Peru with them. And she's like, bull crap, you know, no way. And I ended up on this most treacherous road trip of my life. And yet it was so incredible. We were down in the Amazon jungle. We were in the desert in the middle of the night, out in the middle of nowhere. We ended up ascending up into these mountains in the Andes with these drop-off cliffs that were, deeper than the Grand Canyon with no guardrails. It was treacherous. But when I got to this place, it was so magical, so beautiful up into this little town called Lima Bamba, where a scientific crew was set up. They had a little museum and a research center there, and they were trying to preserve these mummies from this Inca. They actually ended up wiped out by the Inca, taken over by the Inca eventually. But they were known as called the Cloud Warriors by the Inca because they put up such a great battle with the Inca. Sorry, I get into this, but anyway, incredible opportunity. I X-rayed and photographed numerous mummies of all kinds with Jerry, and then the other scientists, they did all kinds of other experiments and testing with these, and they preserved these mummies because they were being looted and people were hacking at a way, even though they were up in these remote cliffs, they were looking for jewelry, gold, and so forth. So they started to preserve them, and yeah, it was really incredible.
Barry, you've had a really diverse background. What is like the ultimate? What has been the thing that has stood out for you?
I don't know, man. That was definitely one of the top
That's
prizes for
Yeah.
sure. But you know, it is weird to look back and think of some of the things that I would have never imagined ever having such opportunities. But you know, I've had a chance to work with a lot of interesting celebrities, and which is neat. You know, you go, wow, I've seen that person on for years on in films and TV, and then there they are standing in front of you. What's that?
Do you want to name drop? Is there anybody you want to?
Sure. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, you know, I worked on a lot of films that were really terrible, by the way. You know, and we can talk about some of the terrible stuff too. But
Yeah.
you know,
I want to end this show with a Miami Vice talk. So let's save that for last.
Sure.
You know, that's my favorite thing in the world.
yeah, you know. But for instance, hairspray. I got an opportunity to go over to John Travolta's home, which is in Ocala, Florida, which is a really interesting experience. And he had a jet aircraft parked in the back
Right in the backyard. It's literally.
And I just was like, but you know,
he's a pilot.
I'm in John Travolta's garage, you know, hanging out, and I'm like, can I just go can I go see your jet? And he's like, sure. You know, I'm like, it's like seeing something that seems like it's not real, you know. And but you know, it's funny because I've met a lot of people, and you go, oh, you can't just go get all fanboy over that. And through the years, I've only asked for autograph from a few people, even though I kind of regret that I didn't do that at times. Gone, I wish I would have taken a picture. But in the case with John Travolta, I went there to take full body and head casts and body casts off of him. It's not a flattering thing. They don't want some terrible images showing up, especially with the nowadays. Back in the early days, nobody ever had these checks to where, hey, you can't, because we didn't have the internet and all that stuff going on. But now, that stuff could end up on the, and the National Enquirer, and a very unflattering. And then they'll put bad night out on the town or something after I just pulled the face cast off of him. But I've had a chance with many celebrities. I worked with John Cena. I worked with the gentleman that plays the Undertaker, taking castings from them to make museum figures. I would say, oh my God, I have to think.
What did you do with John Cena?
Who?
What'd you do with John Cena?
They made this big production, and they had news people there, press people, I should say. They put a lot of pressure on me, but we were making a museum figure of him, and the WWE. That was at that time. They're changing it. I don't know what it is now, but at that time, I think it was WWE, and. But he's kind of intense. The Undertaker, the guy's huge, but I was in charge. I was the director of the art department for Ripley's at the time. And so it was my responsibility to have our shit together before anybody got there and have everything laid out and planned out. And Cena was intense, Of course, this is an uncomfortable thing, but it's like, all right, how long is this going to take? Probably many hours, but do you want to try to, but I have a way to manage to get people a little more comfortable. I start talking to them, and I need to focus. My main focus is to make sure that they're okay. because sometimes people pass out having this stuff done.
Wow.
You're standing on your feet long period of time or something. I try to break it up in sections, and you know, then I have to assemble all the parts together later. But it is really hard. But of course, this guy's built like a Mack truck at the time, especially. But you know, I could tell he was intense. So I just start a conversation going, so what projects are you working on, John? It's him and I, just personal. He starts talking about some stuff. Same thing with John Travolta. He was very nice, but he was also very uncomfortable about getting a full head cast by some crazy guys that show up in his garage, you know. And so, you know, and he's like, can you just do like part of my, you know, I think he's probably had bad experiences in the past, but back getting cast back in the days, you know, from some of the films. And so you got to just work with them and try to, you know, make them as comfortable as possible, and sometimes distract them a little bit. So I get them to start talking about their next projects that they're working on or whatever. And by doing that, we're busy like bees working around them. And, you know, until the part comes where I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this goopy silicone and cover your entire head, and you're going to have to be quiet. You're going to have to stay still. And it's going to be about, I tell them 30 minutes or so, but then I'm like 5 more minutes. And then we're like looking at each other, go, oh, okay, hurry up. Okay, can you breathe? I do a thumbs up and a thumbs down. And if somebody gives me 2 thumbs down, that means we got to rip this crap off of them.
No.
You know, and I've had people panic. It's, you know, the other people fall asleep, and you want them to be in a nice stance, and then you get their head cast, and they're like, you know, so like that's not what we wanted. But I'll try to keep them awake while this is going on, you know. They're like, okay, keep your head straight, you know, kind of thing. But
have you ever done your head?
What's that?
You ever done your head to see what?
Yeah, you know, and that's the worst, because I can't tell people what the heck to do while I'm covered. But I have had my head cast. I have out in the garage. I have a casting from when I was like 23 years old out there, which is quite a stark difference from the other cast that's out there, which was probably taken in my mid 30s. But I thought about this, you know, wouldn't it be interesting though, if you could cast somebody and their aging process, you know, but it would be a big project that you'd have to plan way ahead to do.
That would be a good business to have.
That's a great idea.
You could make money on that.
That should be sad though.
It's funny. It's funny because at one point in time, years ago, I thought about a business for doing face casting, right? Like, hey, get tourists to come and take their face. But I did an experiment down in South Florida with this woman wanted to do some business with me, and she had connections with all these wealthy, rich women from Palm Beach. And when they saw what they looked like without their makeup and their, you know, they just saw the reality, they were unhappy. So then I was like trying to sand wrinkles. It was like the clientele was so picky, and so it's so weird to see yourself in that way that it's
real way. Yeah.
Some people it blows their minds a little bit. And so, and you know, especially women who are real sensitive about their looks, you know. And so I would try to paint them to look neat and everything, but I realized it's more of a pain in my butt to deal with this than it's worth. So I just dropped that whole idea and moved on. So.
Damn it! I have a business idea too, but I'm not going to say it here. Maybe
no, don't do that. Do that behind.
Yeah, man,
but,
that's so good.
You know, there's so many different possibilities with things, and you know, there's been a lot of times I am yes, I'm a good artist, but as far as business goes, I've never been a great business person, and it frustrates the crap out of me that I'm like, but it's hard to do everything. You know, I did have an effects shop down in Miami way back in the day, not after the Vice stuff, and but I made sure I set up the shop close to the film studio down there to try to and there were several times where I looked like I was going to have some big big gig, you know, like a TV show series, doing all this FX stuff, kind of precursor to the Buffy the Vampire kind of thing. And they film a pilot. They got me trying to hire up a crew of people and everything, and all this exciting stuff is going on. And then I'm calling to get my second payment. I'm already buying supplies.
Oh, geez.
And then the phone kept ringing and ringing. And I'm like, why is nobody answering the phone? I need to get my second payment. I end up going down to the studio, and they're filming Ace Ventura on the other side. And I see all these animal wranglers, and there's Dan Marino walking past me, and all these different people. I'm like, what's going on? And I meet this guy who is Pat Tantello, who is creating a big giant shark prop for remember that?
Yeah.
And the funny part is, at that time I was driving a 1971 Monte Carlo, which was like the car that Jim Carrey was driving in the film, only mine looked a little nicer, not much nicer than his, you know. But they're like, it's that crazy guy that's the comedian from I forget the TV.
Living Color, was it?
Yeah, exactly. How could I forget that? And I was like, oh man, I want to work on your thing. Well, I go over to the office to collect my thing, and there's a big sign on the door. There was a cease and desist legal thing where lawyers came in, and I'm like, oh! You know, I thought my ship came in on this project, but that's the thing. Disappointment happens over and over again. And it got to the point where I remember my wife, I had to go home and tell her, you know, I thought I was going to collect a $10,000 check that day. I was in tears. I'm like sick. I'm nauseated. I owe rent. I owe my house, apartment rent. I owe the rent of the shop, you know, and now I went and bought a bunch of supplies and got all these people pumped up to work with me. And now I got to go home and tell my wife the dinner. And she's like, "Can you just get a normal job?" I'm like, "Can you define normal, please?" And at that point, you know, this type of thing made me start to realize that, okay, I'm going to have to shift gears. It was too unpredictable. And, you know, I do know people who successfully work, but Florida is a little bit more of a challenge. And a lot of times the people that were able to successfully do this, and somebody might send you a message saying, that's a bunch of crap. They usually have another partner who has a good steady income to help because there's times when I go, wow, I made good money on that project. And my wife said, yeah, but you were out of work for 2 weeks after that, which means you kind of made minimum wage, you know, kind of a thing, you know. And she was always very practical, my wife. And thank God for that.
Barry, talk about because you've also done stuff that doesn't have to do with movies, right? You've done stuff where you've worked with criminal investigations, right?
Yeah,
like that kind of stuff. What did you do for that?
Yeah, so you know that's the thing. I started to switch my gears from B horror movies, although I still love B horror movies, but they were not paying the bills. So you know, I started to make the connections with the police. I worked with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, doing some CSI training, recreating crime scenes. I ended up ultimately getting 13 years working with the military, recreating developing medical training devices for the military. And working with first responders, fire departments, mass casualty training exercises, you know, that type of thing. And
can you elaborate a little? What did you do though? What was
well, like for the mass casualty exercises, sometimes they would have it would be like they'd have a SWAT team coming in, like there would be a shooter scenario, and I would create sometimes it would be dozens of people, and we would get lined up everybody and apply prosthetic appliances and blood to them, whatever they decided. If they might say this is a bomb, these are bomb victims, so there's going to be, more extreme things, body parts. They may tell me that they want to do some kind of burns. So I will write a list when I work with them. I'll take a tally of how many people are they expecting to do, so I know how many people need to work with me, and what do we have to have prepared ahead of time, and what kind of props or anything like that. And it's impressive. Sometimes there could be dozens, if not hundreds, of people involved in a project like that. For this type of thing, where entire county, fire departments and police departments, sheriff departments are all working together. And it's a lot of responsibility, but it's real interesting as well. And then I've also taught a lot of medical people how to apply. They call it millage in that scene, but how to. I've gone to conferences and got up in front of a group of all professional medical people and show them the hands-on workshops and work with UCF medical training people as well, teaching them how to apply and create injuries and so on. And there are some other things where I got to work with a competition where different emergency medical hospitals, they would do teams and they would compete with each other to diagnose. It was really interesting. A lot of it was done with, they would use medical mannequins and so forth, but they would give me all kinds of interesting things that they would try to trick the emergency people, like a snake bite or a shark bite. They asked me to recreate Ebola one time before that ever made it to the United States, and then you would see an entire group of medical people. They would infect themselves, pretend, of course, with Ebola because they didn't do a certain procedure. It was fascinating, and I got to meet all and work with all these surgeons and experts in their field. And I did that annually with some of these people, and they actually sent me to I worked for a company called Symmetry. I was one of the original founding members of the company. It grew from 3 of us to where they had like 40 people when I retired from there. But they sent me to cadaver class one time. And I thought I was going there to watch. And fake is good, but real is like, whoa, And when I got there, they're like, okay, it's going to be your turn. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? Whoa. They're like, no, you're going to take this tool and you're going to drill it to the bone. Yeah, I know. And, I was like, and inflate the lungs that they have up and the lungs are there. And they want me to intubate and inflate the lungs. Now, I know. It's like, I have been to the Miami-Dade coroner's office and, I've seen dead bodies, but it is a rush where I just feel flushed. I feel lightheaded when this starts to happen at first because you're not used to this kind of a thing, unless you work around that on a regular basis. So, I've managed to contain myself, but, and
you did it. You did it.
Where I had to create a recreation of a rotating humeral head for injecting into soldiers for the military. And so in the cadaver lab, I could see all the anatomy and layers in there in real life that I had to replicate because I was creating different layers of muscle tissue, fat tissue, skin tissue with manipulating silicone materials and other materials and had to make it so that the shoulder bone rotated. It was very intense, interesting work. And I worked with a lot of engineers, PhDs, master degrees. And then there's crazy me, but
you know, be a surgeon.
I actually could do a number of things. I'm pretty sure I could. If somebody needs tracheotomy, I might be able to pull that off.
Why don't you start a black market business of
I don't want to have to ever do anything like this. But if I had to, but I learned a lot of. I learned a lot about medical disease. I worked in creating diseases of different kinds for medical training purposes. And they would, I'd had to look at a lot of gruesome, weird stuff. It was disturbing, but I needed to make things very accurate. So, yeah, somehow all these low budget B films, and then all the experience at Ripley Entertainment and so on, kind of all fused itself together to where I was ready to get into that next level, getting into the medical and the life-saving stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that elaborate career is just like insane. Like,
I would have never, if anybody said that to me when I was younger, hey, someday I would have never imagined it. But
I don't understand. Like, you have some balls to you, because from being somebody who said earlier that there's 10 people better than me, to having the career that you have, to just exactly everything you just explained. That's balls, man. And
thank you.
I wish I had that in me. I guess there's different balls of different balls, right? Like you have,
believe me, I had my doubts oftentimes in panic moments.
Yeah.
Just walking onto a film set, knowing that you are responsible to create some effects stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you got all this entire crew of people that are there all on a, you have to have your crap together, and it can be very intimidating, nervous. So for me, with Mr. ADHD, I will write lists down and go over and over and over at home, preparing and packing the stuff up. And of course, pre-production, getting everything ready and testing stuff out in my hot garage, or, I didn't have a big elaborate effects shop. Well, eventually at Ripley Entertainment, we had an incredible art department, and Symmetry. We had an amazing, started off in a very small building, worked our way up to a little bit of a larger building. They ended up building in a huge, brand new facility by the time I left there, state-of-the-art facility. But
going back to that question, where it's like you took off work one day because you knew you were gonna get the job, and you got the job. I mean, if you didn't think you were gonna get the job, that was the confidence in yourself, right? I mean, you took off work.
You have to pump yourself up. You got to pump yourself up. And I do have to say this much. And for anybody listening, everybody has their own little way of doing things. But I started doing something in my 20s. Even though I was a crazy party guy and all that, I wrote on pieces of paper goals. And I kept them taped to a wall. And I have goals up on a board in this room right now. And I will continuously go back, and sometimes I have to rearrange the goals. But some of them are short term, some of them are and some are longer term goals. And I would visualize in my head meeting those goals. And it's something that you put into your consciousness that it'd be like having subliminal messages in your sleep while you're sleeping, having this signal going in. I will continuously keep looking at those goals, and I recommend, whatever it takes to find your own little way of doing something like that helps you to lock in, because I can be scattered all over the place. But, thank goodness I've got a wonderful wife that helps me with all the, our household. She's kept me in line for years. And, it helps to have the good people around you to help you. But, I am a driven person, and I have always, once I found what I had a passion for, you got to find whatever that passion is. But, I had many jobs. I had to pay the bills, and I had many jobs that were not my dream job, but they were connected in some way that I learned something from them. And I say people who go out, they got to have a job. Well, try to find, whatever, if you have an interest in a certain area, try to find jobs, even if it's not your dream job, that are in the area of something that you're interested in. At one point, I swept floors and stocked shelves at a Zach's art place, but I also got a discount on art supplies. But this is not a job I ever admitted to having, quite frankly. But, I had my share of ups and downs. As a wild guy, I did a lot of, money one week and none the next week kind of a thing. And, so I ended up, working in sweatshops and silkscreen T-shirts. And, I had to work my way through things. And then I'd go work on a film with famous people or something, and then go back after that, back to the sweatshop, But you do what you have to do. You got to pay the bills. But I also made sure I tried to keep everything art related, or get jobs where I would learn a skill that would help continue on. And one of those jobs was early on. It was a mold maker's assistant in a factory. It was terrible, atmosphere, really smelled bad and everything. But I learned from a master mold maker how to make castings off of my sculptures. And that skill that I learned from that job long ago followed me throughout my career and helped me to get other jobs by having that, So I just advice to people out there who are wanting to try to get their careers going. And that's kind of sort of how I helped steer things. But also other things are just miraculous things that happen. But it's kind of weird. Sometimes I will think things and they happen, like the mummy thing, or me wanting to work with George Romero, and this opportunity happens. It's incredible. And I don't know how. Maybe I have guardian angels up there helping to steer me around or something, or the synchronicities that.
I want to talk about.
Yeah. Yes. Please talk.
I'm a huge believer of law of attraction.
Yes.
I started a channel not too long ago where I talk about your mindset and how your mindset gets you to launch the life that you want and the optimal life that you should be having while you're here. So all of the things you're saying are like,
I need to listen. I need to listen to your show because yes, absolutely. If I wish I would have had people, help me to learn such things, because, these were things that I just started to do out of necessity because of my ADHD. If I didn't write something down, I lose track of things. But by doing that, and then, again, it's that visualization. You can manifest your own reality.
Manifest your reality. Perfect. Because you're saying, ADHD, but you didn't focus on the ADHD. You focused on what you wanted.
I didn't even know I had ADHD until I was later in my years.
No,
you realized, that's what's going on with me.
I also want to add to the factor that I keep in touch with Barry because I look up to you, brother, because of your film industry. Not only are you
I love you, and Monica, you're awesome.
Thank you, Barry.
I truly do look up to you because
please keep in touch. Please keep in touch, and I really enjoy hearing from you. We met at a weird time. I just retired.
Yes.
After 40. If I was to go back to my, I got my first real job at the age of 16 at a car wash, so I only count the years from after I got out of art school, but I worked for a long time, and I decided my body was just I can't do this anymore. But I had goals that I wanted to do personally that I was not achieving because I was so busy, take care of my family and doing for others. And it's been a great ride, but I wanted to write some books. I wanted to do my own art, which I've never seemed to have the time. I was always doing stuff for other people, which is great. I got paid to do things. Through the years, even though I had a full-time job, I always had side work. I was doing illustration jobs and other things. I mean, I guess you could call me a workaholic, but coming from poverty as a kid and a difficult childhood and feeling like I hit rock bottom in my late 20s. Like, how do you hit rock bottom when you're At the age of 30, my wife and I got married. We got married when I was 31 years old, and we literally had hardly anything at that point. We started at like, she's like, "Where's all your stuff?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is it." I just,
That's perfect to me.
I was not a materialistic person, and I didn't have, I lived with roommates in a house, chaos. Usually rock and roll band or other artists or something, and I wanted to go to LA, at one point in time. I had actually a heavy metal band saying, "Hey, you want to go with us? We're heading out to LA." And I thought, I'm miserable and broke here now. I can only imagine what will happen to me. And my wife said, we had been dating at that time. She goes, "I don't want to move out there, and we had all our family in the East Coast. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to make the most of living in Florida and do what I can do. But, you just, you have to keep going, and life will steer you in different directions. But so many people lose track of what that dream is and go and end up doing something different because they have to, in many ways. But then they never do accomplish what they really wanted to do. And I have few regrets, I mean, I still have goals. My goals have gotten a lot smaller now that, at this point in my life, but I still have goals. I'm finishing a book right now, hoping to get it published, and I'm studying, taking courses right now, studying parapsychology and other things and other interests that I have.
Actually, doing parapsychology as well too. We should share each other's thoughts on that later. There's actually a school for it. You could get a degree in this. You could become a doctor in parapsychology, which I've done this all my life, and you knew this. This is how we started. So yeah, I mean,
that's the thing. When we met, we had so many common interests. Music, of course, film, the paranormal. I mean, and so there was a lot of things that kind of got shelved for a while. I had responsibilities, the family and everything, that now I'm able to have a little bit of more time to embrace. But,
I originally wanted you to have a show here too. When we first,
I know my big thing is, and I'm embarrassed. I am a techno dud. I worked with my hands. I never had time to sit on a computer through the years. Now I have a 22-year-old son. He's going to be 23 here. He's in his senior year of college right now. He's majoring in psychology, my son Miles, and he is my tech guy. And so I rely on him too much. But I'm like, just show me how to do it. But nobody has the time to sit there and literally, And,
well, when you want to show here, you got it. You know that.
Well, thank you. I get intimidated by that, and I'm embarrassed to admit, hey, I'm terrible at this, but I am learning. It's just I'm a slow learner when it comes to the technology. And a part of it is, and I'm embarrassed again with the ADHD, but I also have a form of dyslexia, which is dyscalculia. And so calendars, time, I've struggled with these weird quirks. And yet I'm very open to the paranormal. My grandmother was a well-known clairvoyant, and so I have a lifetime of experiences in that. And I am a pretty creative person who can take a blank piece of paper and just start drawing something, And so there are gifts.
That's automatic writing.
That is an interesting thing. I thought about that sometimes. Art is it is a way of meditating, and I also, but I get a little scared about things because there are so many weird things that happen to me at times but I've thought about that with art, that of doing automatic drawing and kind of just trying to get into that state where I can start to do something with that. And I would like to have more conversation with you.
I was able to do it once and I hit it right on the head. I'm very into that. I feel like when it comes to the paranormal world, we're gonna talk more about this, but we're not gonna do it much today. We're at the 2 hour and 10.
No, yeah.
And we're gonna end it with Miami Vice, which is
okay,
because that's the way I do it.
but it's a fun thing to talk about. We definitely will get back and talk about this,
I
whether,
actually feel like
whether it's on the show or behind off the show.
I actually think we should do it in person on a show.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be our next show with you, and
Yeah,
I think you're here to introduce
Yeah.
yourself to the
Yeah.
paranormal aspect
So
of it, because it's all there. Ghosts exist. I don't care what anyone has to say. It's all there.
yeah, no doubt. And I've had we won't get into this too much.
You can.
We'll say.
When I say end it, and I'll just say Miami Vice. You just go ahead. But you can talk about paranormal. You've got a moment.
I've had moments where you go, wow, did that? I've had many things that happened where other people were with me. It wasn't just me, So that tells me, okay, that really happened. Obviously, if it happens when you're alone, like recently, I think that some of my dead cats that are buried in the backyard, I have a pet cemetery. They come and visit at night, and I'll feel little footprints jump up on the bed. I think it's my Mia right here. And then I look down, and Mia's over on the other side of the room, and I'm like, oh. But recently, I'm like, is this really happening, or is it my imagination? And then I heard an audible meow in my ear, close up, and I jump up, looking around, and I have a lot of little weird things like that happen on regular. But my life and my normal life is fairly quiet most of the time here in my home. Thank goodness, because I have lived in haunted homes. I've worked in haunted workplaces. I've experienced out of the body experiences.
Yeah, same.
Had telepathic dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I have had visits from loved ones and friends who have passed on in my sleep. And a couple times I've actually gotten some, some confirmation that happened. And recently it was regarding a friend of mine who had passed away in 2011 from cancer. And I had a dream about him sometime after he had passed away. And it was very vivid. And I was like, oh my God, it was so good to see him, but it was so quick. But I thought, after I wake up, I'm like, oh, I can't believe he showed up, And then I'm like, where was he? It was like we were in a castle, right? I was like, this is weird, But I'm like, no, that was more than just a dream.
It happens that way, and I believe in that.
And
I
then,
believe the dream state is your ghost escape, the astral plane.
As people, as humans, we are so hung up on the physical state that if you don't have this capsule around you, you can't really exist. But really, after that is gone, there's still so much more to us.
So there's a lady who recently said, we're going to talk about this later. She says every time you go to sleep, you die.
Well, they do say when you're asleep, that's when you let go. That's your vortex. That's when you're re-amping for the next thing. So that totally makes that could. Yeah.
So the next conversation in person will be sleep paralysis and all that, and the astral.
Oh, yeah. I've had my share of nightmares and stuff, as well. And I don't believe that, the difference between a dream typically, and then, there's times when I remember dreaming that I'm looking for the bathroom, looking for a men's room, and then I get to this men's room and it's for leprechauns. And I'm ready to go to the bathroom in this little leprechaun urinal, and then a leprechaun jumps on my back and it's wrestling with me. Well, I realized that my brain was saying, you're going to piss the bed if you don't wake up,
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. The brain will come up with so many weird things,
It does have, you're going to piss the bed, yeah.
But I know there's a distinct difference between a regular crazy dream and the visitations from loved ones. And I have no doubt about it. And I've had a number of cases where I have had validation that they were real. So anyway.
So oddly enough, like this screen keeps going dark on our end.
Oh, I see that.
I think it's because of the weather outside.
Oh.
I think we're getting shadow because there's a big storm coming in. So yeah. But that's so weird, right? Because I can see the different shadowing.
They're talking about some rain coming. Maybe you're getting some rain up there.
They're talking about big storms happening tonight.
Oh wow!
So that actually just helped a little bit because
now that you're saying that, I've got I rescue animals. You know that, I think, already, but I have a big old tomcat outside. I just call him Buddy, but
No.
he showed up a few months back and he needed help, and he is absolutely beautiful, all white with a blue eye and a gold eye. But I put a tent out there to keep him mosquito free, and I put a little house out there for him because I can't bring him into my home because he was feral when he showed up here, and now he's my bestest. He rolls around, but I still can't trust him 100%. It's like I went to pet him today, and I touched his head, and he turned around, and I was like, "Chill, man, chill." But I better
both of you
batten down the hatches for him tonight. I hope I can get him in the house eventually.
You do see the storms coming tonight, right?
No, I haven't had a chance to watch the news.
Yeah, check it. So it is supposed to be bad.
Oh boy. Okay.
A question for when you guys walk in the city or hospitals or anything, right? Just take this in general. This is a paranormal question, actually, right? So you can't speak to everybody. You can't talk to everybody, but you walk past everybody every day, right? How many were ghosts?
I don't know. There's times when
I think, Barry, I'm gonna say that you're still getting into the I feel like the physical is the humanness, and I feel like there's more that encapsulates us that isn't this physicalness, and that's where I think
absolutely.
The extra, the spirit, all the other things that you're experiencing. When you're sitting by yourself, I try and tell this to people, when you're sitting by yourself, you're having an experience with yourself. And that is the thing, the thoughts, all the stuff beyond the skin and the organs and the bones and the muscle, all that stuff is what still is going on when the body is done.
But there's residual.
I feel like we get hung up as humans, as people, on the physicality, but I feel like there is more that happens when that goes, and that's where people are like, I don't know. But when you're sitting by yourself and you know that there's more happening here than just your body, I feel like that's what is happening when you pass. There's still more that happens beyond just this.
I understand what's happening.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I've been studying this stuff and reading. Some of it's over my head a little bit, but they get into quantum entanglement and all this stuff. But they're believing that some people are starting to believe that our brain is not the generator of our consciousness, but it's actually a facilitator, and our consciousness is out. It's kind of weird. Like it comes here, but it continues on after death, and I believe that is true, and it's energy, and that energy we don't understand where that energy comes from, but it is there, and I think that. I don't have any doubts now. I had an out-of-the-body experience when I was younger, and I actually had a telepathic communication with my father, who was on an operating table, and I didn't even know he was having an operation. But I went home from school feeling kind of ill, and I laid down, which I was just a young 19-year-old kid, and I never got, I was like, I left school early because I was like run down. I went home and laid down. And then I heard my dad calling me, sounded like it was at the bottom of the stairs. And I was trying to answer him. And the next thing I know, I opened my eyes up and my face was up against the ceiling of my bedroom. And I heard my dad talking to me. And we were like telepathically communicating. And then I turned around trying to figure out what's going on. And I see my body on the bed. And I got freaked out and I flew back into my body. Well, after that, I realized, oh my gosh. The soul is a separate, your consciousness is a separate from your body. I mean, I wasn't dead, but I was still floating up there. And then my dad and I had this telepathic communication. And then when I flew back into my body, I don't know how long it took me to wake up. But when I woke up, I was up in the attic of this house in Pittsburgh. I heard the phone down, 2 stories down ringing, and I knew it was my dad. And I ran down to answer the phone. And when I did, it was my dad. And he sounded like he was all drunk or something. And it was in the middle of the afternoon. First of all, normally I would never be home anyways. And the fact that my dad was calling me, and I was like, why do you sound weird? And he goes, I just got off the operating table. My anesthesia is wearing off. And I was like, oh my God, we had this crazy telepathic communication. Well, my dad didn't feel comfortable talking about this stuff, but later I asked him at another time, what do you remember? And he said that while he was on the operating table, he saw his entire life flash past him, and he saw all of his children's lives. And he knew that I was living in a bit of a rough neighborhood in Pittsburgh, got hooked up with all these crazy locals. We're like, oh, if you're from this side of the town or that side, I'm like, look, I'm neutral. I'm an art student, but I got caught up in all their craziness. And I ended up, my life, my dad was worried about my safety. And my dad, his mother was the well-known clairvoyant, my grandma Mildred Anderson. She was well-known in Western New York, used to go on radio and TV shows when I was a kid. And she really had an incredible gift. Well, my dad, I was like, oh, I'm all right, Dad. I didn't want to tell him everything going on. But not long after that, I ended up getting mugged in the city waiting for the bus by a gang of guys, and ended up in the hospital for a couple weeks with some really serious injuries. And so my dad had a reason to be worried about me, obviously. Kind of crazy story.
Love it.
It's so much bigger than what we know and what we understand, for sure.
Absolutely it is.
What we're going to do, Barry, we're at the 2:22 marker. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring everybody down for a moment. We're going to go to Act 3. We're going to take a quick intermission.
Okay.
Everybody take a break. Barry, I need you to grab a beer, and we're going to do we're going to do cheers in a moment. So we're going to bring you down. Everybody like, share, follow, subscribe. And then we'll be back in about
We will be back.
2 minutes.
Stay here.
Bringing you down.
Bathroom break.
You are now live with BB3TV.
Listen, ditch
that BB3TV.
BB3TV, we underground. The only network touching your soul. Repping the streets, we on a roll. Forget the airwaves, crept in the studio, broadcasting live. That's how we do, yo. We the raw, uncut, no need to censor. Changing the game, remember to remember.
Please hold for handrail kindly.
All right, we're back in. Waiting on Barry to get back. Quick
Barry.
intermission.
Yes.
This has been an amazing show. Pop that other beer before he comes back. The one we just talked about.
We have one more.
We're gonna.
Wait, did we officially do the Stonewall?
Yeah, we did. That was a good one.
I feel like we did that.
And then this is the Flamingo one. Show it.
Thirst Control Pills. Pills is short for Pilsner.
Yep. We're gonna end the show with Miami Vice. It's fitting a flamingo. Oh, I gotta get another cup. I can't look at there.
Where's your cup at?
Smell is good. Smells like Florida. Ooh.
Ew.
Ooh.
Why do you keep saying that?
Not sure how I feel about that one.
It's honey again. You don't like honey flavored beer.
I love honey.
'Cause
Honey
it's
on pizza?
just like honey. That's Mariah Carey. I try and throw a song in every time. I don't know if you noticed.
No, this is where
I have a horrible voice. But
It was pretty good.
I have a horrible voice, but I love to sing, so I make it work.
Shows.
Welcome to BB3 TV, the Fireside Tales. Here is your story.
I did the commercial. Yeah, the commercial was done. I don't know what I just did there though. We're gonna have to get rid of that. Barry stepped away for a moment, just waiting for him to come back on stage. We'll be here. It's a good time to actually tell everybody where to find you.
So I'm predominantly YouTube for now. I am being Monica. I just posted a video about how amazing your body is. Do you know how amazing your body is?
Sometimes.
It's doing all of these things you don't even know about. Praise your body. Praise it. Because it's working for you.
So when you look in the mirror, you have to just
No,
say,
it's not about the physical. It's about it is keeping you alive. You are allowed to have this
it's
experience
amazing
right now.
really what it really does.
And
when
you
live.
don't even know that the crazy thing about your body right now is it's doing all these things that you educationally don't know about. Your brain doesn't know that your body is doing the things that it's doing, but yet it's doing them because we think our brain rules everything, right? But our body is doing things, our brain, we don't even conceptualize. We don't even know, but our body is working for us. So I just did a video about how amazing our bodies are and appreciate your body, not just for how it looks, but how it's working for you. So
Cheers.
do that. And I am also on Facebook. Please. I post quotes. I am a quote person. Mindset is important for your experience. It is guiding you on your experience. So if you have a positive mindset, Dominic,
Yes. Act 3.
I want you to be more positive in
I
your
will.
experience because it's going to make your whole experience more positive.
Act 3, closure, Miami Vice. Here we go. Barry, cheers up there. With your beer up. I said go get a beer.
All righty.
Your
Here we go.
orange blossom.
First off, I want to just
Well,
say
it's what I got in the fridge, so it works. It's good.
I appreciate you
Cheers.
over and over again for being a friend, a brother, and just a part of BB3's past, history, and future.
It has been a pleasure to get to know you. You are
Hey,
extraordinary.
it's great to be here. I really appreciate you guys inviting me, and
It's this.
it's wonderful.
And look
I
at
found-
Mia.
I find out we keep going dark because the screen behind us. My camera's picking that up. So we're
Yeah,
just,
Miss Mia's here.
see?
Hi,
She's
Mia.
my little,
You
she's
gorgeous.
my little sidekick. I rescued her and her babies out of a abandoned car wash, and the babies all got adopted, and she got adopted as well by me. Right,
I
baby?
had a dream like 2 nights ago that I had a little black kitten. And
Oh. Well, we're fostering some kittens right now in the room next to me here. So I guess we're the crazy cat people, but
Catwoman.
cat
You know
people
what?
are crazy.
Catwoman.
Nice. It's nice. I like animals and kids like me. Not a lot of adults don't care for me too much, but
That's
animals.
okay.
I like animals better more than
Fine.
people.
Well,
so.
Barry, are you? So would you say you're a cat person or a dog person?
You know, I love animals, but really, my wife and I have
Mia's
had.
sitting next to you, by the way.
Yeah, she is. We have had cats since we've been together as a couple. We lived in apartments and we had jobs. You know, a dog was not a practical thing for us, but I like dogs too. But you know, we've had some. Seems like I guess we just say we're cat people at this point.
Okay.
But
That's okay.
again, my wife and my son raised baby squirrels here. I mean, we're just animal people, and you know, so treat your animals right. No dog deserves to be chained outside to a tree. We love animals. So anyway,
Thank you for that.
Miami Vice.
okay.
I want to do the music, but I can't.
We can't
with
do the
my
music.
mouth.
I want to know from start to finish about it. And this intrigues me because my family's a huge Vice fan. And when I found out you were a part of that, and you know, I just wanted not just to share your story, but to open other people up what it's like, you know, being on that show, being a part of that, being part of the history of the 80s, and just opening up about, you
I'm
know,
retro.
yeah. So
Me too. I live there still.
I know we kind of we dove into this on the last show, and I'm not going to show the picture of you on there, but like just the experience of Miami Vice and what you dealt with the actors and the scenery and how it all worked. I mean, just in general. I'm not going to ask a ton of questions. I mean, you ask away.
Well, okay, so I don't know a ton. So if you want to give us a quick.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just explain how I ended up on the show. First of all, as I told you earlier, that you know my mom kind of pushed me into trying out to get into because I wanted to get in, you know, somehow get my foot in the door, you know, of the industry, and I saw that they and I didn't have a lot of money to spend on photograph like headshots and all that stuff. You know, as a broke art student for one thing, and I saw that they were doing tryouts for a new TV show. And I asked a girl from art school that was a photography student if she could just take my picture. And I was, again, I changed my look from the punk rock thing into rockabilly. And I just asked her if she would take my picture out in the alleyway behind the school by a dumpster, I think. And I just was trying to look like a tough guy or whatever. But even though I weighed 165 pounds, 170 pounds or whatever. But she took a picture and I just sent it to this new TV show. I didn't know anything about it. Nobody did because it was brand new, you know. And then I got a call back from casting directors with Dee Miller was the lady that was doing the casting for Miami Vice. And they said, we like your look. We would like you to come down and try out for the show. And, you know, I think it was the whole time it was to be an extra, more or less. I'm not sure. Actually, I think they may have had me do some little bit of read a couple lines or something, you know, some kind of cold reading probably. And I just showed up there in my regular clothes, and you know, they were like, "All right, we want to hire you." You know, I was like, "What? Okay, cool." Because the funny part was, I just got out of school, and my dad said, "You need to get a job. You know, I'm not going to send you any food money anymore. You know, you're out of school now. You're on your own," kind of thing. So I was like, "All right, I'll get a job." You know, and I had been, like I say, silk screening T-shirts and stuff to try to make ends meet. But I was hitting my dad up at the time every so often to try to help me with, you know, little things. But you know, I tried to not be a burden on anybody. I was the oldest of several kids in the family. So anyway, my dad says, get a job. So here I am. They're like, hey, you're hired. What are you available to come be on set? You have to be here early in the morning until, of course, I'm like, yeah, absolutely, sure. Now I didn't realize that these are like 12, 13-hour days typically, or whatever they were. A lot of people, it's long hours. And, I'm 23 years old, a restless guy, and there's a lot of sitting around. But it was a pretty amazing opportunity because I got the greatest education as to what was going on, whose job was what, by sitting there and watching everything and seeing the pyrotech guys and the lighting guys, the gaffers and the grips and all this stuff that I really kind of got educated and meeting the people that were working there. And so that in itself was really great. And then, I was treated like an equal by the actors who were very nice to me and shared meals with them and so on. So, that was very exciting. I was totally green, with what I was doing. And there were many times where they would reshoot over and over again. And one time, Sandra, the beautiful actress, said, "Hey, you didn't follow your path. You got to do the same path over again." And I was like, "Oh God," because beautiful lady, and we would share meals. I would share meals with them, but I needed somebody to tell me these things, of course. And I apologize, and it's like, okay, we just make sure because they want to get that shot. But I think in that time I was carrying like a box of files or something, and I kept having to. It was like, cut. Let's do this the 10th time or something. So you learn that there's some tediousness involved with film and TV for sure. There some things go easily and smoothly, and other times you'll have to. There'll be complications on the set.
So you had no prior acting training before you were there?
I took a little acting workshop, and that was really it. And then I tried out for some other parts and things. I think I got in on a couple little commercials, but no speaking parts. Every opportunity just sort of didn't come through because I was so green, and I would get nervous. That's why I started to do all these other crazy things to push myself to break through that fear thing,
Yeah.
a little bit. And
camera is a big
yeah,
deal.
it's kind of a trip, But I had some opportunities, very close opportunities to getting upgraded for speaking parts on the show. But basically, I got hired to be an undercover vice cop extra throughout the entire season, and they invited me back to the second season, and I never went back. I know. Well, I don't know, because acting was not what my dream was, but my mom was not happy with me. She's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you didn't go back." I'm like, "Yeah, but the reason was that after Vice finished, the season finished. Now, first of all, I didn't know while I was on the show, I started to realize the show was becoming a hit, because there was a lot of buzz going on set. But I was not able to watch the show. I was too busy. I didn't have time to have a social life with my friends and stuff a lot because, I was so busy. And when I told people I was working on the show, nobody believed me, which was kind of funny too. I'm like, "No, really?" And they're like, "Yeah, bullshit." No, I'm working on that, But it's kind of it was interesting that this opportunity. But there were a couple times where I thought I was going to get upgraded to speaking parts, and then we just ran out of time, and the sun was coming up. I did get out of most of the stuff I was in the police station, but there were times when I was out on the set or out on in Miami, down in Miami Beach and stuff, and they gave me a couple lines. David Soul was a director, and he was going to give me a couple speaking lines, which would have got me a SAG card and all that. But they just ran out of time. They just changed the script. And another time we got rained out. A storm was coming, and the storm was coming and coming. And so like, well, we got to call it. And that was that, I was embarrassed because I would tell family because they were all excited.
Oh,
Oh, I got upgraded to a speaking part, and then it didn't happen. And you'd be like, but again, you have to have thick skin to try to get into that sort of thing.
Well, as you spoke before, the original show that we did, I want to speak of the atmosphere on set. You said, Don Johnson smoked cigarettes, like ton of cigarettes. We talked about if you should have collected his cigarettes, things like that. Like just the entire atmosphere. And like you speaking of, you've eaten food with these people, like just any memory of the talks, or was it just in general? I mean, these are exciting things that people just don't get to experience like you do.
Sure. Well, I took it for granted, but there were a lot of people that were actors that were guest actors that would come in, but they were unknown at the time, like Bruce Willis. I didn't know Bruce, but Edward, I was going to say, darn it. Gosh,
it's not Scissorhands.
No, Edward Alamos came in darn it, I'm having a momentary lapse of memory here. He came in to replace
the detective, right, or the main guy.
But darn it, from Barney Miller, gonna be so mad.
Right, Castile.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Alamos came in, and everything kind of got shaken up a bit. Lou was the original guy, and I'm trying to. Gosh,
those are some of my
Gregory Sierra. Gregory Sierra is the actor, and I recognize him from Barney Miller, and he was the only actor that I actually recognized at first when I got on there, because everybody else was new to me. And somewhere along the line on the side, I had a little conversation with him, and I thought, I'm going to ask him for his autograph, And there was nobody around, and I was like, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" He goes, "What? We're co-workers. What are you talking about?" I go, I'm a fan from Barney Miller, He's like, all right, sure. I didn't realize that he was going to quit the show when
I was going to say, do you have an insight of why they changed from why Castile came in, why they killed him? It was one of my favorite episodes with the sniper. And then I said to every BB3, and I said to her earlier, I said, "Are you ready?" And, and she goes, she said something. I said, "That's not the Miami Vice way to say it." And the answer is, "I'm always ready," as Tubbs said. Remember that?
Ready. Yeah. Oh, he's such a great guy, Philip Michael Thomas. Well, anyways, Gregory Sierra. So I didn't see this coming, for sure. But from what I understand, is that he just did not want to live in South Florida, and was unhappy, with some personal decision that he wanted to leave the show, even though he just kind of got onto the show and it was a huge hit. But he may have had first of all, the oppressive heat in Miami is, it could kill anybody from up north easily. And there were maybe certain things that were behind the scenes going on that we were unaware of, obviously, but I'm just an extra guy. I'm watching this whole show go down, but he was really a nice guy to work with. And I have a rare autograph from the set of Miami Vice, because shortly after that, he ended up leaving the show and they killed him off in the script and on the show. And they brought Edward James Alamos in. And when they did that, the stark difference between the two characters, which was intentional, and Alamos had his own idea of what character he wanted to do, but it really brought in an attention on the set in real life, because he came in brooding, not talking to people much, and there was a situation where at one point in time, first of all, he came in and he saw the Gregory Sierra's office, and he's like, it had all this stuff, all kinds of stuff in that room, and he's like, asked the set people to remove everything and leave a stark blank desk in there and take everything out of there.
Yeah.
And you know, people were like, "Oh my God, he wants us to change the set." There was grumbling and mumbling behind the scenes, you know, kind of a thing. I was like, "What do you mean? You don't want nothing in there?" You know, he's going to have a few minimal items in the office, in his office. And of course, he goes in on the show. He comes in and they're all jabbing away, and suddenly he's like, I think he yells or whistles or something. Goes, "Excuse me, you know, can somebody please tell me where my office is?
Yeah.
I'm the, you know, I'm your boss," or whatever. I don't remember the exact words, but anyways, but there was a scene when Don Johnson came into his office and closed the door or something. I don't remember exactly what happened, but they got in an argument about how the door opened up and the pace of things or whatever. And it was weird because I'm right there, you know, and all of a sudden you realize these actors are not really acting. This is real life going on. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait, is this acting? Because I'm confused.
Yeah.
And then you know, start to realize that they're actually getting into an argument. And Don got pissed off and stormed off the set, and everybody's sitting there waiting for something to happen. Now the clock is ticking and money's being spent while all the people are there. And Don went off to his trailer, and now, you know, here's Edward sitting there, and it just got weird, you know. And time, it felt like an eternity. For, you know, of course, I'm just an extra guy sitting around anyways, but I'm like, wow, this is, you know, because I don't know what to compare this to, you know. Oh, TV's weird, you know. But ultimately, I think it's become known out there that this story's been told before. But that happened, you know. There was a little bit of drama, but most people were really, most of the time, everybody got along really great. One of the, you know, there's several scenes in the show where I am in the office, Castile's office, and there's all this dialogue going on, and I'm right off camera. The cameraman's like right over my shoulder. I'm like, I'm in there the whole time, and they never get a shot of me in this close-up environment with everybody. You know, it's like, but I memorized a lot of their dialogue at the time because they overdo it over and over again. You know. But I remember one of the things that I thought was really neat was Edward Almos was talking about his experience working in the sci-fi film. Gosh darn it! Boy, I'm getting old. I am getting old here. He had worked on oh shoot!
I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, gosh dang it. Oh, you're killing me. I can see, I know this, but I can't think of it for the life of me right now. It had it was about the future. Anyways, Rutger Hauer's in it. You know what I'm talking about?
Give me 1 second. Galactica?
No.
Let me keep going. Blade Runner?
Blade Runner. Gosh, Thank you. Oh, that was going to kill me. I'm embarrassed when that happens.
No worries.
I haven't thought of this in 40 years. You know?
I think about things too, like, and I'm like, I'm going to talk about that, and it just loses my head. Like, Blade Runner.
I worry, like, you're going to ask me about a show that happened 40 years ago, and then, but yeah, he's talking about Blade Runner and his experience on that, and I just was sitting there with like gleeful, like listening to all this, you know, like, oh, they were talking this weird dialect and all the sets and all that stuff, and it was just so cool to hear somebody, seasoned actor, talking about a really neat film like that, you know. So that was exciting for me. And, you know, off the set, one of the silly things was I was excited about the catering service because, you know, I was a poor art student eating, you know, who knows what. And all of a sudden they got nice meals being served up. And I'm like, oh, they feed me too, you know, like, hey, they feed me good food. But I would sit there with the ladies, some of the actors, just having meals and talking. And they'd be asking, what do you do? And I would sit around and set with a sketchbook sometimes. I wish I would have been sketching the set and what was going on there, but instead I'm drawing designs for monster masks or whatever I was doing.
How amazing that would have been! Like,
if I would have been sketching the set,
sketch that in your brain right now and remember that.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Let me be a geek real quick. Before we end things, so we're probably going to end things within the next 20 minutes. Depends on how far this goes, but there is no better duo in a TV show than I think Tubbs and Crockett. I don't think there is. There's a Batman and Robin. There's actually Nash Bridges, and I don't even remember the other guy's name. I love Nash Bridges, but when you think of a TV show, I don't think there's a better duo than Tubbs and Crockett. The atmosphere. Please put into that.
Well, they certainly were the best dressed. I mean, my gosh,
Yeah.
I don't Gucci suits or whatever they were wearing. They the show really did change the way. I mean, it was such a huge hit. I mean, all of a sudden, all these guys are going around fashion. They spent a fortune on their clothes, and every guy was walking around with a t-shirt and a blazer, and
But when you think of the world and you think of South Florida, Miami, you think of that show now, the neon lights, everything about that. That actually described when you couldn't see other than postcards about what Miami looked like, even though like some was filmed in California, I heard, things like that. That's what Miami looks like, even to this day.
Yeah, it was really clever. They chose a palette of colors. They're like, we don't want anything brown. No earth tones. We want all these pastel colors. The Art Deco thing they revived, because honestly, South Beach was kind of run down, and it's kind of dangerous. We were filming out on set at times, and they're like, "Whatever you do not leave this little area. We got cordoned off here." Because they'd be shooting guns in their filming, and then you'd hear other guns going off that weren't part of the filming.
I've had that filming in South Florida, so I know what you mean. Like we're off. Yeah.
So and I had worked on other films down in that area later on, but that show really brought a great interest around the world to South Beach and started to really bring in tourist money and really change things up. And it's incredible. Crockett Tubbs, I mean, they are iconic. And Philip Michael Thomas, what a cool guy. Actually, I think I found recently a piece of paper that had Don Johnson's phone number and address from when the show started. I think he invited me to join them up at some place he had. This is right in the very beginning, and I never did go, which is so stupid of me. But and then I found this in a bunch of a time capsule with some business cards from Miami Vice.
And he wrote that for you?
I wrote it because my sloppy handwriting, but he said, "Hey, do you want to join us? We're going to have drinks over, at this." It was one of the big high-rise hotels on Miami Beach or whatever. And I didn't feel comfortable. I don't know why I didn't do these things. Probably like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. Who knows? But when I saw that, I was like, oh God, I remember that now. But then when the show was known to be a big hit, Don started to kind of go and hide off into his own in his trailer and become less sociable a little bit. But I did pose for a photograph. I think I told you in the other that we ran out of film. They had Crockett Tubbs and me with the badges and the guns all posed, and realized that I was out of film. Like, oh man, that was like $1 million shot, and it didn't. So sad that didn't happen. But I got along with Philip quite well, and we had many interesting conversations, even though he's so busy. But we kept in touch after I left the show, and he ended up coming to visit me in my studio my FX studio, and he brought a special guest, Dionne Warwick, with him, and we spent quite a bit of time together hanging out. But he was a really great guy, and he had a theater in North Miami. He was involved in other things, and we talked about getting involved in other projects together. Sadly never happened, but some really, really good people, some very talented people. The crew, hardworking crews. I mean, I loved watching the Pyro guys, and I cannot remember the name of the company, but watching them rig up the sets with bullet hits and everything. It was amazing to see all that stuff in person.
Man, you've had the career, brother.
Mm-hmm.
You've had.
I don't know.
And,
I feel like almost like a Forrest Gump of a guy that just ends up in these weird situations at the right time. So it's like a weird timing thing. Somehow I just ended up falling into something interesting, But yes, it was an amazing opportunity, and it's iconic, and it's always going to be part of the 1980s,
Absolutely. So what we'll do here is we're going to end it. This was everything I thought it would be.
Ooh.
And more. I always enjoy having Barry here.
Well,
talking to
my
him.
gosh, cheers, guys. I just completely enjoyed your company.
Yeah.
And we don't always have to do this on camera. I love talking to you guys. And
well, I'd like to have you over for dinner and things like that. And also, I would like to do shows with you in person, because I think it's always your personal experience with you is so far beyond the normal conversation that I think the world needs to be shared this. And I think it's a shame that I have to be the selfish one to actually just enjoy it for myself. So that's why I like you. And like I said, I look up to you because you do things that most people don't have the balls to do. And you, like you said, you end up on this somewhere atmosphere that, you just get to experience great things.
Well, thank you so much.
The knowledge that you have with these shows, not everybody in life gets to experience, especially people watching from the other side. Let's talk about Miami Vice, something that meant so much to me growing up. So I appreciate little things like this.
There's a huge fan base out there for sure of the show. And now I'm hearing rumors about a movie or a new show, maybe.
I think they should leave it alone. I'm excited about the movie. I watched the last movie with Colin Farrell. Big fan of Colin Farrell. I liked it, but it was not Don.
No, it's not Crockett and Tubbs. It's not the. It's
neither will be the new movie. I don't care how good Top Gun is.
I know.
It's not the same.
Now, the one thing that it could do is bring new interest to the old show for people who never watched it, maybe, but I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that myself. If I want to watch it, I'll pull up the old episode and watch it. And it's kind of weird looking back, and some of it aged kind of it's an 80s thing, but I have a love and passion for that era. I had so many interesting friends and bands. I was always out in the clubs. I had a hell of a good time doing all that crazy stuff, and it's fun. A lot of fun memories for sure.
So you'll do me a favor, right?
Yeah. What?
Next time in person.
Yeah. What?
Next time what?
Next time in person.
Okay. Well, we can try to. Let's do this. We'll have to make it work somehow.
Yeah.
We'll
go to him.
It's not that bad of a trip, actually. It's not that bad of a trip.
Far, right?
Huh?
There's my mom saying thank you. Very interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
We could have you over, and you could always crash, and we could always.
That would be great. It would be nice to see you. It would definitely be nice to come over and visit in person.
I hear Dom is a great cook.
Oh, very nice. Well, no need to wine and dine. I mean, but it would definitely be fun to come and visit for sure.
I say let's do it. I'll be in touch within the next month or so. So let's not let October come sooner than we hang out.
Time flies by so fast. It's shocking, But yes, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
Monica, it's really nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you too. Thank you for your time.
I'm gonna bring you down. I'm gonna bring Monica and myself down. You could stay in the back chat. We'll have one more beer together, and then thank you for watching BB3 TV. Thank you for being here with Monica and myself. BB3 TV. Like, share, follow, subscribe, and most importantly, enjoy.